been a little difficult, but we're
bulletproof that stock right now.
Yeah, I'm loving Uber, man. We talked about that for a minute. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys at 2 o'clock for Fed.
Maybe a little bit. I think
we'll probably be 150, 145.
I think we'll come back.
Yeah. But for now, wow, the Tesla is absolutely tanking. Get those shorts all fired up. All right, Sharif, go get them. Let's go, guys. Sharif and Joe, see ya. Wow.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. That's your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. Welcome to the midday show. Lots of bangers today to talk about, guys. The market is moving. So let's keep an eye on it. I'm already in a position. I'm long EOSE at 43s. We wet the beak multiple times there to the north side, but we'll get to all these trades in a second. Gonna welcome back the OG Darwin, dancing up a storm. Shout out to Juan Padilla. Let's see some new games. Get it, Tisha. I see you. Who else? We got Bonjamin. We got Miguel. We got Zla. All right. We got Zla. We got Nomo, Hytham, Jenny, Ula. Sorry, Jenny, I probably butchered your last name. G-Talk, 5150. Michael, dollar cost average. We got Dino. We got Damo, Trevor Adams, Felipe, Pop Rock, like that. All right. We got Blue Arrow, one of the OGs. Shout out to the other OG, Other Zinc, and Sir Poopy Paper Hands. Nephew with a capital P, a couple of OGs there. We got Brendan Harriman. First time I think I'm saying your name, Brendan. The Piper Dip Sniffer. Can't do that. Hoi Long Lai. We got Zimbabwe, Craig Schaller. What's going on, Joseph? Anything important?
I accidentally punched Uber short. No, that's okay. Continue.
All right, big match, key money. We're going to talk about Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain today in a second, but Adara has something for us at the big desk.
I do. So AAPL is down pretty harshly. People were wondering why it was down after that story. And again, just to clarify, Google dropped after Eddie Q, who is the Senior Vice President of Services at Apple, said that Apple is considering implementing some AI for its search function. But he also said that apparently Safari searches in Safari browser declined for the first time ever in April. That was also said by Eddie Q. Not a great story for Apple, but there's another potentially negative headline for Apple I want to talk about. Wall Street Journal reporting that tariffs could cause laptop and phone prices to increase by more than 30%. According to forecasts. Also, potentially good look for Apple's revenue, but maybe not as good on the consumer side, regardless of how you interpret it. AAPL dropping to the downside at day's lows. Wall Street Journal showing a forecast of 30% increases or more for laptop and phone prices as a result of tariffs. Back to you.
Thank you for that. We got Rogue, Pizza Rat. Keep going, baby. We got Aaron, Python Skeleton, Cyber One. How about Dr. Shuttle and Dr. Shuttle Show? Tavoris, I completely butchered your name. Shout out to Tavoris, Adam. We got Charlie Kine, Card, Mind Elevation. Okay, I know what you guys do, Mr. Mind Elevation. Morris, Sunny, Cash Bar, Buster Stacks. I love all these names, man. Live, Love, Sale. I think I read that one before. It's Moko, not it's Moto, it's Moko. Who else? We got Rogue, Bot Yacht Club, Mike, Zavi, Jeff X something or another, and Drew Looney. Shout out to everybody, guys, in the chat today. Thank you for joining Joseph and I on the midday show. Joseph, it's already been a morning.
It's been a morning, guys, and I like this. What was it? Go Long Here. I like that name, so shout out to Go Long Here. All right, guys, let's see what we got cooking up today. I was writing in the chat. Let's go IBIT, and we put on some decent trades on this one here, guys. So let's break these trades down here really quick, because you know how my style is. Entry one, we get stopped out. Entry number two, bang, bang, bang. We're like, we're more than double this size right here. But then I only take about 25% off right here, guys. And then I got stopped out, unfortunately, for a small loss because I still have 75% of the position there. But nice move. I should have took some off, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Anyways, we be patient and we get right back in and we make this position larger than both of these combined. So there you go, entry, and then with that add, and then we just piece it out all the way up there. And then eventually I got stopped out, break even. That was like 10%, 10-15% there. And then I tried one more time on these bottoming signals here on the 1 minute. Let me pull these out for you guys. You might be able to see them a little bit more clear. off these bottoming signals right here on the 1 minute. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can grab another long off this base and then get it moved back towards the volume weighted average price. And we didn't get that, but still nicely green on the session just due to these this one trade here in particular there, guys. I'm not going to take any more attempts on IBIT, but I also by accidentally punched into Uber. I was like, oops, yeah. I'm like, oh no, that's when I was like, oh no. So I just got out right away anyway. So there it is, a nice little scalp on Uber, even though it wasn't intentional, just full disclosure. I was like, oh, I meant to type it into my IBIT level 2, and then I had the Uber level 2 right beside me, and I accidentally punched it into that. Wasn't really paying too much attention, but there we go. That was the look there on IBIT, still trading nice. I was waiting for 55.50 to be honest with you, but we do have some open interest at that specific strike, and then all it needs is just a little spark, and then you can see from a flame standpoint, we just ignite to the downside there, Sharif, in the likes of Bitcoin and Google. So there you go. We're getting some breakdown in some of these tech names.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, we're involved in a couple of small gappers to start the day. Let's talk with the first one that we've got prints on, EOSE. Tisha, I see it, man. I see ASST. We're going to talk about that in a second. This one was a volume-weighted average price retracement. I got in at 43s. I was able to wet the beak all the way up into 55s. Alas, we've been hanging out here for a while at VWAP, so it feels like this one might be kind of possibly losing the bid. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to mute Gmail today because it's just ringing off the hook here, Joseph. All right, so EOSE, keeping my eye on this one. I've moved my stop from the high 20s to the low 30s, trying to lock in the profits now that the beak's been wet a few times, but break even currently on it. This one is a new trade. GPUs, also a VWAP retracement overlapping with that whole dollar level at $7, up 48%. 49%, give or take. This is, again, going to be a VWAP trade. Not trying to give this too much room because it's got a big V-shaped or upside down V, kind of a Christmas tree retracement all the way down into that $7 area after making a high day of $8.56. There we go. Now we're taking out all the levels right there. There we go. We're getting prints bigly here. Shout out to my man, the orange one. All right, here we go. We're taking 18s out. Boom, 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 boom. All the levels just got printed there. Okay, we got 06s on. We're going to wet the beak a little bit more here if it can move up into the high 20s. Just don't want to take out too much too quickly. There we go. We'll set up one in the high 20s, and then we're also going to set up in the mid 30s. We'll hang out there. So GPUs continuing to go over 50% now. Again, very, simple impetus for getting me into this trade, a retracement into a key area of what I perceive to be an area of technical support, aka the volume weighted average price. So we'll do it live here. There we go. We just took out another order. There's the other order. Look at this thing go, bro. All right. Now we're going to set up. You know where I'm going to set up. All right. So I don't even have to tell you guys. If I have to tell you, I'm going to get annoyed. All right. 769 now. We're setting up on GPUs. Here comes the $0.50. Now we're getting tape teleportation. Look at how that tape is moving. It's moving crazy. Once it was like a minute ago, it was dormant. It was super calm. Everything was fine in GPUs world. Now all hell's breaking loose at the top side, and I couldn't be more pleased. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. I will be an adder of this one if we do break above that $8 level. I perceive the actual resistance level on the day to be $8, despite the fact that we've wicked up above that. So if we get a big boy breakout above that $8 level, it's going to be a breakout trade rather than a support and resistance trade off a key technical area. So that's what I'm looking at right now. GPUs. Do you have anything to mention before I look at all the small caps?
Yeah. Real quick, let me touch on to something here, my friend. Okay, so Apple's continuing to bleed. We can look for these turnaround signals in some of these tech names, but if this big name continues to move to the downside, we might not get that follow through on these bounces. But one thing that I want to note here, guys, just from a trade management, I know we talk a lot about risk management, but then once we're in the trade, what are we doing? And this is exactly what I want to touch on right here, is just following and listening to what the market is telling us, all right? So, again, on this third entry, second entry worked out. Actually, no, I guess we can classify it me going over 2 here because I was heavy and I only took 25% off, and then I took a small loss right here because it slipped me and I had 75% of my position. But on this one, basic TA here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
What I did here essentially is I just drew my trend line. And that's what I was working with. And then as soon as we cracked it to the downside, I took off a little bit more than half of what I had remaining. And then you can see right on the backside of this trend, boom, we get that flush to the downside. So just basic TA there, guys, listening to what the market's telling us and then getting out and leaving. Like I said, I had 10, 15% as a runner, and that's it. We didn't get that move. We get stopped out break even, but we had the majority of our position taken off right here. We were piecing out small here, about 25% with the remains of that, aiming for 55.50. But then as soon as we cracked that uptrend line and ended up on the backside of the trend, that's when I listened to myself. I said, hey, we need to get the majority of this out. And that's exactly what we did. And taking this small little 10, 15% break even stop did nothing to our P&L, essentially, Sharif.
All right, sounds good. I don't know, Piper, brother, you're the only one complaining about the size of the level too. I mean, Joseph's is like exponentially smaller than mine, so I don't know what you're complaining about, brother. I mean, if you need to zoom in, maybe it's the color combination, Joseph, that blue on black that's bugging him. Possibly, I can change the color for you, but you've complained about it before. I don't. If it's the color, I don't mind changing it, guys. If you're in the chat right now, let me know. Is my level 2, which is the blue area on my screen there, is it tough to see? Just tell me straight up, because I have no problem, obviously, changing it for you guys to make sure that everything is kosher on that level. I'm talking about this area right here. So yeah, so that's Joseph's on the right, mine on the left. I think Joseph has a smaller font, but maybe he has a better contrast there. Yeah, he's got the black on the gray.
Yeah,
you know
my gradient slightly.
Your gradient, eh?
Gradient,
okay,
yeah,
this
like
guy's getting all right.
Yeah.
Let's see what everyone's saying. Unreadable. Yeah, nope, yes, not really. It's tough to see. Bull. Tough to see. Cry me a river, says Dewey. Come on, Dewey. It's fine, says Damien. Juan Padilla says yeah. Bob says no. Exile him. I will. Lord who? Lord Autismo. The color can be a little tough, but you're the trader. Do what works for you, brother. We're doing a show. Thank you for being kind and respectful like that. But we're trying to, obviously make sure everybody is involved with us. So I don't mind changing it to a better color combination. Give me some time. I'll get that done for you. Piper's causing all sorts of ruckus.
I don't even see a size, to be honest with you. I don't know if I can.
Yeah. I know how to do it. But that's fine. All right, guys, what else we got here? There's no issue. People just have nothing else to complain about, says Pug Life. Okay, all right. SF Day Trader. It's not that easy to see, but not too important in my opinion, because people should have their own level 2s real time. I know, brother, I know, but we're doing a show, right? So we want everybody happy. Thank you for the response there, Chad. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna make the necessary changes. I don't think it really is gonna take too much effort from that. All right, guys, GPUs. We're out here at 58s. Now this is a topping tail candle that actually showed up on both my charts, both my platform and P Pro 8. But I had an order waiting at 69s that didn't fill, despite the fact that this wicked up to 92. So that has me feeling likely a dark pool print. Kind of confused by that because my platform doesn't really show the dark pool, so not really sure what to make of that. People are yelling about bull as well. Let me have a look at BULL, see what's kosher with that. Yeah, it's okay. It's not the best looking one on the day. Here it is. I see you, Gorev. It kind of looks like a bull flag, brother. What I don't like about the bull chart right now is that you had like a lot of respect for VWAP, but then you had this specialist breakdown, likely to get everybody out before we move up a longer merry way. If it happens twice, it might happen once or twice, and then OB thrice. No, what I mean to say is if a stock is a repeat offender with false breakouts and specialist breakdowns and breakouts, then it likely will repeat because there's certain algorithm that's using that strategy or parameter to get everybody out. So I am kind of concerned about that on bull. A very respectful bull flag. Then you have all hell break loose from that 1690 all the way down to 1550. Quick as you like, though. We move back up, and that's kind of how you know it was a liquidity grab or what they call a specialist breakdown to get everybody out, everybody stop triggers, and then they buy it at the most advantageous price. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, we're right back to where we were. So if it does it once, it might do it again. That's been my observation. I'll keep bull on the side chart because it's kind of light today, to be honest with you guys, for small caps. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that. Here's what I'm looking at though, Joseph. Let's bring in the trusty 8 over here. We got some decent ones. NTCL. This one's kind of given up everything over here. So it was halted when I started. This one's going to lose its spot likely on the side chart. GPUs, that's the one we just executed on. A fantastic look. It's a multi-day runner. Goopus, right? Because we saw what it did on Monday. There was a big boy move there on Monday. From the pre-market to the high, Joseph, we were up over 534%. Had an off day yesterday, selling off. Today, though, with that 854 high, we are still below Monday's high of $9. But I'll submit to you that the real level on Monday, mind you, was about 8.5. Look, barely any closing prints above that 8.5. So if we clear that 8.5 and even better 9, Goopus is going to fly. That's how I see it. We got to clear that level first before we even talk about it. So GPUs on watch. ASST, that's the one Tisha was telling me to look at, and rightfully so, Tisha. 254% above the pre-market high, above the volume weighted average price. What else can I ask for? I can ask for more. I can ask for more volume. And for this thing to stay freaking open, it's been halted to no end, right? Halted to the downside right now at 216. I don't know what the top is. Allow me a second to have a look over here. Nope, got to load up a trading screen to do that. Give me 1/2 second. We're going to see what the theoretical auction price is on our friend ASST, and it's right there, 216. So it's the same as the halt level. The theoretical auction price is the same right now as that halt level. Let's do a little TA, though, on ASST. What do we got here? Well, we got a pre-market move right around 8:30. Not surprised there. We know how the pre-market works for these small cap gappers. The news headlines, guys, typically on the hour and on the half an hour. So what you'll usually see these bad boys move is either at the half an hour or at the hour or the top of the hour. And that's exactly what we saw here. 8:30, it gets that price spike up as the algos digest the information, and then higher highs and higher lows. We make a high of 267. As I mentioned, we've cleared the pre-market high and we're above VWAP. But the 10 exponential now pointing down. You changed it?
Yeah.
You're happy about that?
Yeah.
Bravo.
Let's go, man.
All right, so we'll keep an eye out on this one. It's at the 20. That's not really my look. I'm a buyer of this one. Okay, now it's open. Here it is, zigging, zagging, 213, 219. Does it drop down into 2? And if it does it hold up at 2? Why I'm talking about 2 here, because you have about a 10 penny variance between the volume weighted average price and that psychological area of support. I'm talking about $2. So I always get caught between two minds when that's the situation, when two areas of possible technical support are kind of close to one another. So you can do one of two things here. You can, go all in on one level, $2 or $1.90, or you can get half the shares in at one level and half the other. Obviously, if it goes to one level and not the other and then moves back up, you only got half the position. That's what trading is about. It's about the appropriate compromise. So I'm going to keep my eye here on ASST. I'm likely a buyer at 2 and 190, but it's going to have to set up in the right way. And I do that kind of begrudgingly. I don't like to trade these stocks that keep halting over and over. Let's count how many halts we got on this monster. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
wow.
12, 13, 14 freaking halts. Each one, though, that's the bad news. The good news is they've all been 5 minutes. None of them has been 10. And I'll submit to you, the longer we stay halted, the more the people want to get the hell out of there. So the theoretical auction price typically drops as we're halted down. Now it looks like we're going to halt up. So let's count this as possibly number 15, $2.36, still below that key technical area of 240, Joseph. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Is it halted? Not quite yet. Now it is. Halted to the upside this time.
Good stuff, my brother Mang. Okay, yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the chain here, guys, and why IBIT maybe just rejected that. I mean, it's not a coincidence that we just bounce right off of this level and reject aggressively. So go look at that 56 strike price there if you guys have the ability to. If not, I can show you, you know what I mean? That's what I'll show you. So there you go, 56. Look what that high is, and at 55. So lots of supply within this 1.5 range right here, guys. So there you go. Take a look at that, and then we're going to pull up AMD as well, just so you guys can see.
AMD.
Yeah, AMD. Just so you guys can see, like, hey, this is why I'm not saying it's the 100% reason why we rejected off of those levels, but if you start adding the correlation between some of these call and put walls and then the price action, you're going to notice a lot of difference here. So, what was the high of that earnings report? Just below 106. Where do we have the highest amounts of OI on the chain? Just south of that number, and that's going to be 105 with 20,000. And then you can see more of a wall up along these ends there, guys. So
Joseph?
yes, sir.
Can I just mention an IPO super quick and send it
Absolutely,
back to you for
absolutely.
everybody? Guys, Brenrex letting me know there's a new IPO today. We didn't cover this one, but STRZ. That's a new IPO. It did open already earlier. STRZ. It opened up, I believe, at around $9.45, the opening price being $8. It is halted to the upside at $17.84. So it's up bigly. Sorry to interrupt you, Joseph. Just wanted to everyone to know there's an IPO STRZ.
Yeah, nice look there. It's up Clayton bigly for sure. All right, guys, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Take a couple attempts at the same thesis. Bottoming signals on IBIT, and now we're looking to climb higher. I tried it once, but then as soon as it had the inability to construct a new low, I'm like, all right, let's take one more stab at it here. All right, and all I'm risking is a couple of pennies, about 5 cents here. Gonna look for about a 2 to 1, so 55.20, right at that volume-weighted average price is where we're gonna slowly start to piece them out. Now, I want to note that when we just seen that sell-off with that Google and Apple news, and look how strong NVDA held up. That's a positive sign. This is exactly what I want to see. It didn't tank with the rest of the market, and that's going to be a really good sign. That's a solid sign of strength here in this name. And after that, AMD, Sharif and Adara reporting last night, and they heard me go, yeah, as soon as I seen that AMD report come out. And I'm like, okay, because that's going to be a positive sign here for this name, and we're sitting on the backside of this channel. So, excuse me, I'm liking that a lot. I'm liking that a lot. We rejected, yeah, it's all right. We rejected that 55.20 pretty aggressively, but I do believe that this tape is relatively strong. So we'll be patient. We're going to wait for that. Actually, yeah, matter of fact, I'll post up right there. Right at that 55.20, just so I can catch that fill if it does hit the bid, and we'll take about 20% off there with that mark right at the volume weighted average price. And I'm waiting for a little bit more of a move here. Pizza Rat and I were talking in the chat. He said 100K by June or July or something along those lines. I'm like, dude, we're $3,000 away from that. That can happen like today or by the end of the week. Sharif, I know you and I were saying 100K by the end of the week. We're definitely in range to hit that target. We're probably just below 97, probably high 96s right now, maybe 96 flat, considering that sell-off. But we were knocking on the door of 97 throughout the morning, and I think we're going to continue to climb here. I mentioned before, it's a similar setup to sitting on the backside of the trend with NVDA, and you've seen that from the past couple of weeks, how much we've appreciated in price, and that's a positive sign. I want to see this. We had an extremely long consolidation phase, and then we didn't get that continued move that I was necessarily looking for, and then we topped out, traded within another 10K range, and sold off some more into the mid-70s. But now we're moving back, sitting on the opposite side of that channel, and looking like we want to continue to climb. If we get any form of positive news catalyst, I think that Bitcoin can absolutely skyrocket, as well as NVDA. You get any form of tailwind, Sharif, we're going to see some nice moves here in the market.
Absolutely agree with that. It's going to be really interesting to see how Bitcoin actually trades once we start talking about it again. I mean, the administration, that's kind of what I meant there, because you've been hearing almost nothing for them. Also, David Sachs has been, who's the AI and cryptos are for the new administration. He's been on the all-in the last few times and basically said very, very little on crypto. More AI stuff lately about large language models and the advancements there and the chip restrictions, etc. But very, very little to be heard from David about crypto. So you kind of feel maybe something's brewing there. Now, we were wondering possibly that $1.5 million a plate dinner that took place earlier this week. There could be some crypto pronouncements, got bupkis from that. So we shall see. All right, guys, in Clover over here, CLOV. This one's putting in a decent move. It's respectful of the 10 EMA, up 15.5%. I'm giving this one very tight room long here at 87s, looking to kind of wet the beat peak there in the low 90s. We'll see what this one does. Kind of dropping off the volume profile, though. It's kind of weak. I'm giving this one just a couple of pennies to see if we can extract something on this one. So CLOV, kind of a small, slow mover, but a consistent pattern. Let's see if it ends up holding the range on the bull flag that I perceive it to be putting in at the moment. Brendan Franklin, David Sachs, and all-in pod is OG. I happen to really like the all-in pod. I was talking to a couple of people, and maybe they're not very happy that it's become more political, less business. And that is a fact. That's exactly where it's kind of gone to lately, but I don't mind it so much. I like to hear what they have to say. It's just like sitting across from like very, very well-off, very intelligent people who have been successful in life and getting to hear what they have to say for free. So that's all right with me, man. All right, so CLOV, we're doing it over here. We're long 87s. Let's see if this one wants to hold out. Oh, I got into GPUs as well. So that order triggered. So I had a resting order there to take a break of 63s. It did break, and now it's zigging and zagging. We've basically break even on this one. Looking to wet the beak there. If this one continues to the high side, likely going to be some resistance at 8. Now, I will give this one a tight stop because I already did well on it. I don't want to give too much back. So it's going to be basically the 10 EMA that's going to get me in or out of the trade. Here we go, moving up into 68s. The tape speeding up again, but unable to shake that seller in the high 60s. You know where I'm waiting. I'm waiting at 69s, and then I'm waiting at 82s. Neither have triggered right now. There goes 69. All right, can we zig up a little bit more? Low 70s now on GPUs. Still waiting for a break and take of my 82 level. And then I'm really waiting for a break of 8. I really do feel that 8 is the key level over here. Whether or not we get 8 or a break of 8, we'll have to wait and see. A lot of short selling or profit taking at these levels. Look at the tape really being thickly traded here. That 75 penny area hard to shake. A big seller in and around the mid 70s right now on GPUs. Keeping this one from ascending above that 82 penny level. Here we go. We just showed 80s now on the ask side of the level 2. Didn't cross. I'm waiting at 82. So let me go ahead and throw. Boom, Joseph. We'll take out that level. Now we're waiting in the 90s on my friend GPUs. Here we go. 88s just showed up. Shout out to my man CD. Hopefully they have a better year this year. Now we're going to wait above that 90 penny area. Neil, I thought Neil was trolling me there about CD. But here we go. Now we're waiting above 8 as well. So let's see if we get that print in the mid 90s. Let's see, can we get it? Can we get it? All right, taking it out here. Good look right now on GPUs. Looking for that 8 break now, guys. Cowboys got pickings, said Neil. Are you trolling me in the chat? I don't even know who that is, Neil. I have no idea. I don't watch college, to be honest with you. So he's a good receiver, says Neil. All right. Definitely going to be all eyes there. Here we go. Now we're doing the dance with 8, Joseph. We just popped up into the mid-90s again. Aggressive seller in that level. Let's see if we can clear 8. It won't be the wick above 8 that gets me in. We already saw that story at around 10:30 or 10:25 to be exact, where we wicked above 8 into 8:56, only have all hell break loose to the downside. So I'm a watcher of this one, but not going to punch in until we get a decisive break of 8. If that means getting a worse price, it means getting a worse price.
It means getting a worse price there. Piper Candles, I don't understand. Yeah, I know you never. Okay, so I don't know that. I didn't know you didn't mention the level 2, but I don't see any issues with his candles whatsoever. I don't know.
Pardon me?
The Piper was saying you can't see your candles.
My candles?
Yeah.
My candles are the easiest to see.
The easiest.
I think it's a level 2 that's the problem.
Well, he said I never mentioned level 2. He said candles.
Candles.
Or, yeah,
all right.
Capitals. Anyways, we're over it. On to the next here.
Oh.
Let's go Bitcoin. Let's see if we can continue to climb here. You can see we rejected the volume weighted average price almost to a T, and then moving back down towards this range. I do like those potential bottoming signals here. So what I'm doing is waiting. It's either we're gonna break those lows and put in a new low, and that's fine. I'll take that. I'll take that loss, or maybe I'll even just stop out a little bit below break even, take a small loss. Don't want to dig too much into the gains, or we continue to break here. We can crack some of these key levels and head towards that high day, and I think that's going to be that is my game plan here, sitting in this position. And then if it does work out, we'll take some off, add view up. We get a retest, a pullback, and then we can maybe add to the position as well too. So I'm not going to go too heavy just yet. I want to confirm this thesis. One thing to note here is that I don't see, that's the thing. I'm just like reading this Apple headline that Adair brought to us with the Google and everything. I don't know how that's bad news for Apple. Like, why is it selling off, Sharif? I have no idea.
I don't know, man. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
yeah. I feel you on that one. It's like, okay, that makes like next to zero sense. Eddie Q, Senior Vice President of Services, says that Tuesday the company is exploring the option of adding artificial intelligence search options to its Safari web browser. You can't even get Apple AI out right now. You want to add something to the search engine.
I think it's probably going to be chat or something like that. I think it would probably be
something
chat.
like that, or something like, or maybe. You don't think so, eh?
So maybe they'll include Copilot, bro. You don't know.
You know what I mean?
Maybe Apple
Copilot.
starts cheating on Google with Microsoft. You know, it's been known to happen, Joseph.
I mean, you know my trusty Copilot. It's just right. It's just right there. It's a great Copilot. But yeah, I mean, guys, NVDA is still holding this trend line, which is a positive sign. Let's go. If we crack this little resistance zone here, you can see prices really starting to compress. We do have a primary downtrend as well. So if we just go from this peak, we can see we have multiple touches, maybe a couple whipsaw moves or anything along those lines. You can obviously adjust it like that. That's slightly more accurate, but price is really starting to compress up in this range. So again, waiting for this crack. One thing that we obviously want to note and be patient with is waiting for that volume to step in to give us a direction. Google, Apple, and some of the big tech names sold off on that news, and look how strong NVDA held. So that can tell me that, hey, we might get some buyers stepping in, we might get some more aggressive participants breaking through key resistance zones, and then that can help us kind of get back to where we were on yesterday's close, which was an absolute monstrous run. And I was watching this, I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. The whole day of gains essentially gone in a span of 10 minutes there, Sharif. Oh, AMD reports, okay, we're back to right where we finished off. So that's a positive sign, a nice slow pullback right here, and then now just compressing, and hopefully we get that volume step in and we can crack through some key levels. But we are still sitting in this IBIT position waiting for a fill. It doesn't want to, it's like, so you can see on the ask, it's hitting the ask, but I need that to hit the bid in order for me to catch this fill. As soon as 55.20s is hit on that bid, then we're going to be sitting in a good position, but right now no one's lifting that ask any higher.
No one's lifting what?
The ask.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure, Joseph.
No Brazilians.
That's fine.
Andrea, I'm ready, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, drop
Get that.
a brick emoticon in the chat if you want us to show you a sneak peek of that Studio 8 build, baby. What do you want to see in Studio 8? More screens? More chairs? Maybe it's a mini fridge, Joseph. Let us know. Studio 8 is for you, the community that's been with us since the beginning, guys. So let's build this together. I cannot tell you how excited I am. I think I waxed poetic about this yesterday, to use an Adair term, about how much, is going into this whole build out, the extent of how things are changing, and the amount of effort being put into this. So I could not be more happy. There we are here, over here. There's the Bash Brothers. There you guys are. That's what we're looking at over there, that screen right there, to see ourselves as we do the show for you guys. So yeah, there you go. All the people are dropping the bricks. So we already gave you kind of a sneak peek there with the production team kind of showing you exactly what's going on. We'll give you more information as time goes on. I tried to give you a little bit tidbit yesterday, but I was overruled by, so it's okay. Everything's fine. All right, guys, keeping an eye out on this one. All right, I had an ill-fated attempt here for an 8 breakout on GPUs, but it's right back into that 10 exponential now, rejecting $8 yet again. Surprise, surprise, surprise that it rejected 8. That was kind of the level that we had earmarked for that area of resistance, at least on a closing basis. So let's see if this 10 exponential will give us a good area of support from which we get in. So let's go ahead and throw it a stop there in the mid-40s. And then what we'll do is we'll drop all the way down to the mid-30s. There we go. So we've got 59s on. Let's go ahead and layer some orders to the high side here. If we can catch a move back up, we'll take some profitability on this one as we move into 8. So back into GPUs here as it maintains its level above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. There we go. We're taking out all the levels already. Boom, 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 boom again. All right, so we just took out mid-70s there. Now I'm going to hold the last little piece here for that $8 break. Now I'm going to pack my patience, knowing full well that 8 break may be elusive. It's been elusive on many occasions, most notably on Monday. Again today, I want to say that topping tail candle that manifested right at 10:30, we couldn't shake. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. I will also move my stop now from the mid 40s into the high 40s, low 50s. Here we go. We're 780 now. A seller at 780 with about 200 lots, give or take, from what we can see. Usually, though, it is a hidden seller that prevents us from ascending. So nothing big enough posted right now on the level 2 to justify or to warrant all these rejections, given the amount of buy orders coming in here. There we go. Now we just took out mid 80s. Can we see some mid 90s again? Again, guys, keep in mind that $8 break is elusive. So if you're holding some shares, it doesn't hurt to take some profits in front of 9. I mean, below that $9 area, in case we get yet another rejection at that $9 area. So GPUs, it giveth, it taketh away, but then it decided to give again. So we'll take it. We'll take it and we'll run. And I see people in the chat trolling me. I didn't know that guy wasn't from college. Neil apprising me that he's from the Steelers. I don't know, man. I know more soccer now than I do football. There's only a certain amount of time to go around, especially with the build out and stuff like that. So I had to put a couple of things on the back burner. Football was one of them, sadly, Joe.
Oh, football. I told you guys about my stint with football. I mean, throughout high school and when I was younger, I was just like eat, breathe, and sleep football, playing it and everything along those lines. And then I just fell out of love with.
Oh, I didn't fall out of love.
I totally full-heartedly. I'll tell you guys straight up.
Yeah,
no, I couldn't stand the flags. I just couldn't. The game was just really frustrating me. I'm like, let's stick to some hockey, and then let's. Sharif, there is no more exciting.
It's exciting. It's scrappy, but it's exciting.
No, what I was getting at was the UFC. There's nothing more exciting to me because there is no sport where there's a series of you going like, oh, and then someone gets knocked out and or he gets back.
Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, there's nothing more exciting than that. It's just like, it's like, and then it's.
I feel that.
Yeah, that's just me personally, and I think that's no other sport brings that. It's the modern day gladiator, and there's nothing more fun to watch, in my opinion, right? I'm sure other people like other things to say. But let's go. We're holding this trend relatively
like boxing
strong.
too, though, bro. What are you saying?
I love boxing.
You like boxing?
Yeah, I absolutely love boxing. But I sometimes see the thing is though with boxing. It's the matchups, right? And you don't.
100%
it's not like, and unfortunately, in boxing, no one can catch a knee to the face or a kick to the head.
Guy wants blood.
Yeah, you know.
Give him the blood.
Like, or like an elbow straight to the dome piece, right? But I mean, okay, let's go, guys. So this is what I was referring to here on NVDA. We're going to be talking about this underlying a lot because I'm positioned pretty heavy in this. So. What I was referring to earlier is that we didn't sell off with the rest of the market. Now we're starting to pick up some steam. These candles are becoming more healthy. So what do we want to do? We want to zoom in and find if that volume is starting to pick up on the lower time frames, and it is. As you can see, we're starting to engulf some of the ranges on these 1-minute prints, and then now we're getting these more genuine, healthy prints to the top side via price on these price action. So when we crack through that, we want to see that momentum kick in, and with that momentum, we're going to obviously see the volume start to pick up. And how are we going to be able to identify that nice and early? Is through that volume profile down here. And you can see, compared to what we've had for the past hour and a bit, we're really starting to pick up volume, especially when we run into these key zones. So there we go, a nice look there on NVDA as we're looking to break out some of this compression pattern. I'm going to be patient, wait for the retest, and then continue to move to the top side. Bang, and there.
Oh, baby.
Show them what you got going on.
Baby.
Hold on.
Yeah, do your thing.
Give me 1 second.
Of course.
I'm going to piece something out. I'm doing it live. I'm going to take a little piece.
Who's doing it freaking live? Let's go.
Doing it live. There we go. Bang. Fill on IBIT. You guys saw that right there. Put that order in. 2.3% on the day. Continuing to climb. Let's see if we can get into that high day, Sharif.
All right. GPUs is continuing to go here, guys. Here's the one, so it looks really convoluted. Again, the original entry at $7 for the volume weighted average price. Wet the beak. Punch in again after we take out that 750 key area of resistance. Wet the beak again. This one here over here was a loser. Full disclosure, we'll show you our winners and our losers. Punched in at 784, got stopped out 760 there. Punched back in once it showed me a hammer candle and that buyers were picking this up off 50. Again, remember 50, that psychological area of resistance or support, depending on where we are. Punched back in, boom, 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 and then taking out 811. We're currently trading right now at 812. The real high of the day is 856 that we put in again, as I mentioned, at 1030. But here we are right at 8. Now, do we hold 8? We don't spend too much time on top of 8 or higher than 8, right? And we saw this story before, and here we are again dropping into 8 and kind of almost losing the bid. Let's see if there's a buyer here that's going to step in to keep this bad boy above 8, because there's a whole bunch of profit taken or short selling at this level. And here we go again. We're dropping below that $8 level. It's a hard level to hold here on GPUs for whatever reason. Whatever algo's trading this has really put $8 in its sights and is willing to put the money to back up that short sale because it keeps keeping it down. I don't know if that ends up being forever, though. Let's see if we can take them out. We took them out momentarily, but they're reinstituting their position. Now, what's the next trade here? As my friend Obi, he is the one, Kenobi likes to say, I'm seeing the 10 EMA now showing me 769. I don't need to be invited to put an order at 769, I'll tell you that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw in that order there. Get it, Adara. We're going to keep an eye out on that. I appreciate you. Thank you, Adara. Good vibes. All right, so we're going to keep an eye out on this one. I like how every time she does it, she ends up on the screen there, bro. Yeah, so I'm putting an order here at 769, but guys, keep in mind, the 10 EMA, you already know this, is a dynamic level. It's constantly changing relative to the price action, so you will have to move up your order, your resting order, as the 10 EMA changes. So right now, I lied. It was 769. Now it's 773. So that 769 would be a money fill. It wouldn't be a key area hold. So that's my look there. Now, let's talk about Clove. Because this one, that's it. We're 6 pennies out of the money, and it's lost the 10 EMA. It's actually at the 20. Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. The volume weighted average price at 77s. I'm holding 87s for small size. I'm going to add here, and I'm going to add again at VWAP. So I'm going to put a resting order at 78s. Okay? So we're going to go 378 on this one for a VWAP. It loses VWAP, I'm done the trade. It's simple as that, right? I'm not going to dollar cost average into an oblivion. It has to be above VWAP. So we were already negative on it, small size, but we'll look to get positive if it does allow me. Back to GPUs. Now this one is holding a Joseph. All right, I think we have actually a 5-minute candle here, the one that closed at 11:35, that closed at $8.13.5. We're trading right now at 8.18. This current candle, this current 5-minute candle has a lower high than has an equal high, 8.26, than the previous 5-minute candle. So the 11:35 5-minute candle, high 8.26, is current 11:40 candle, also 8.26. So that tells us that there is a big seller above that $0.25 by a shekel. So what's the move here? Are we taking the breakout trade or are we taking the dip trade into 8? I personally would like that dip trade into 8 or near 8. So I think that's how I'm going to set up here on GPUs. Obviously, that's still that 10 EMA that we talked about. That is now at 775. So a couple of different
Sorry, can I interrupt you for a second? Yeah. Okay, guys. NVDA is starting to break out. I mentioned watching that volume by time profile. For those who aren't familiar with this, here we go, right? So you have VPOC and then you have volume by time. This is the time that we refer to. We don't necessarily, I personally don't use VPOC, Sharif. I don't know if you do or ever have. No, I haven't. So that's the point of control. That will give you kind of a gauge from a price metric where the most volume is coming. All right, so there we go. This is exactly what we wanted to see, is that volume start to step in here. You can see we're starting to engulf all these ranges here within the volume, within this profile, this volume profile, and now breaking through some key resistance zones. I wish I was involved in this, but what my grandpa used to say, wish in one hand, do something in the other, and see what fills first. And then anyways, but what we want to do here is we want to look to get involved with this pullback. We're seeing the 1-minute time frame. We have now put in one of the largest volume prints on the day. It's probably going to be the second or third. All right, well, it's up there. Anyways, so now we're just going to wait for a retest of those of these levels and then look to participate and continue to move to the top side. Don't want to chase it up here. This was the primary entry. Once I seen this engulfing candle and that volume really start to pick up, that's when we should have got involved. But now we have to wait for that pullback and then get involved that way there, Sharif. Sorry.
Absolutely, Joseph. Good look there. I'm just having a look here at the top scanner to see if there's anything new. Shout out to my man Bovin. Sorry, Bovin, yesterday was a bit of a tougher day to keep an eye on your call-outs there. I know you were tagging me, but I had to keep my eye on some of these trades. I'm just looking over here. Nothing really catching my my attention. There is bull. We did mention this earlier. Shout out to the OG Gorev who did mention BULL. I also want to remind you guys, STRZ, Andre, is what's it called? Initial public offering. It's continuing to put higher highs and higher lows, guys. It got up to 1971, pulling back into the 10 EMA. It looks like it's kind of been respectful of that 10 EMA, you know, with the limited amount of sample size that we have here. So I just want to mention that STRZ. Let's look at BULL though, because I see that one is, oh baby, it's taking out that $17 area. And I'll submit to you, there was a big boy resistance level here at 17, topping till number 1. Fail 17, topping tail number 2. These ones all reject 17s despite the fact they're not topping tails. And so 17 has been a level of importance here as resistance. We're above it right now, just printing that high of the day right now at 729, and we're printing 1710 here on BULL. Reasonable price, guys. I mean, where was this one a little while ago when it IPO'd? Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like 80 bucks, 60 bucks. It's been obviously dropping. It looks like it found a bit of a base here at maybe, you know, the mid-teens, low teens, something like that. In any event, it was kind of hard to trade as a small cap gapper because it got so expensive. More reasonably priced now, 1710. Certainly earned its way up onto the side chart. GPUS is losing the bid here. It's losing the bid, but it's pulling into that 10. Is this a double top or is this a money fill here at the 10 EMA? Sorry to digress quickly here, guys, but that's kind of how these small cap gappers work. Because I see a possible double top right now, you know, with that 856 high and then that 840 high, now losing 8 again, yet still above the 10 EMA. Ooh, I think that might have been a money fill, man. I think I missed that one. Yeah, you can't have them all. So I'm going to put Webull right now on the side chart. It's going to replace NTCL because that one is actually negative on the day. So let's go ahead and put Bull. And yeah, I think it's a reasonable one, man. Here, Joseph, if we can possibly, let's throw in Bull. Yeah, look at this. GPUS right back above into 790s. Still south at 8, though. Yeah, that was a money fill down there in the 80s. Should have taken that, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Anyway, we're going to keep an eye on this one. Joe, what do you got, my man?
Yeah, same thing here, guys. We're sitting in this IBIT trade. 55.30 is going to be that next target. You can see we have somewhat of a support level here. So, okay, we'll call it 25. Oh, okay, we already got up into that and then rejected. So that can be slightly explained on that front. We'll zoom out here and get onto a higher time frame. Okay. So what was once acting as support is now clearly resistance here at that specific level. So missed a partial there. If we get stopped out break even, that's fine. We're not going to get too worried about that. I'm still waiting for this retest on NVDA, but with the likes of Google now putting in a new low, and that's what I was talking to Skull and my guy Gorv in the chat, just with just the strength of that selling pressure, I don't want to look for the reversion on this. Can it come? Absolutely. But I don't think there's going to be any form of strong buying program, especially as you've seen how that volume really picked up and then you just tank. Like here we can pull up Google and just look at that profile. That is insane. Like absolutely nothing here, Sharif, and then bang.
Yeah, that's
like
ugly.
Okay, so then what? You're gonna try to bring that back towards the opening price or back towards the volume weighted average price? No, I don't think so, to be honest with you. So that's just my thoughts. If it does, by all means, don't. Just because I say I'm not doing it doesn't mean you don't have to. I'm just telling you what I see, and the profile right here can tell you a lot. That there is a lot of pressure coming down here with Google, so I don't think that there's going to be any form of a program. If I'm about to get stopped out break even as well.
I have an idea of why Apple's selling off here.
Okay, let me hear.
Here's the thing. You brought this up multiple times.
Yeah.
You have that 50 billy.
50 billy.
50 billy. That Google pays Apple on a yearly. You've talked about this several times.
Yeah. How okay, so the service revenue. There you go.
So all of a sudden, Apple now looking at, doing what the consumer wants, which is throw AI. We know that. You do it, I do it, everybody's doing it now. We all go to AI for our search, right?
Absolutely.
So Apple's doing what the consumer wants, but is it necessarily what's best for the bottom line in the short term, not the long term? The short term is you put at jeopardy that 50 billion that you're getting, especially if Google's search from Apple starts dropping off. They're gonna be like, yo, we're going to hold on to our 50 billion, have at your AI, see how that works out for you. So in the short term, I do see a headwind, but in the long term, obviously you please the consumer. It's more tactically sound to search through AI. So I think that may be possibly why Apple's selling off here. Obviously, there was another reason that Adira mentioned, which was that Safari search, the amount of searches being done on Safari is down. But the Katina man also kind of rebutted that point, says, who the hell uses Safari? I personally don't. You?
Yeah, I do.
I use Google Chrome on my, like I've got it here.
You got the Google Chrome
yeah,
there? Yes,
so that's at the home.
I got the Safari.
Even when I go into Chrome, Joseph, which is way, way less, because 99% of the time I'm hitting that one right there, which is ChatGPT, right? Yeah. So I think that there might be a couple of different angles to see why Apple's selling off aggressively off Google.
I mean, but see, there we go. If I have to, and then I can throw up that guy.
Which one do you hit more? You can look at screen time. You can know which
Safari,
one you use.
There's no debate there. I use Safari, absolutely. Okay. But then when I click on Safari, then I end up clicking on the Google, and then you know what I mean? So I go.
What? Fair, yeah. Well, why do you do that?
I don't know.
Oh, you use Google from Safari. Got you.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that front, Sharif. Again, just with this whole Apple intelligence spiel and what happened with that, then now you want to kind of release something now. I don't know if that's going to be the right play. And do you really want to hinder kind of Google being your primary partner too, paying you all this money?
It was always kind of like a weird relationship, right? They're competitors, dude. Really weird. Android, iOS, I mean, need we say more? Mobile, exactly. Right? So it was always like that weird frenemy kind of situation. Does it end here?
I mean, Google has its own phone too, I guess.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. iOS and Android, the competitor, the Pixel. What is it called? The Pixel?
Google
the Pixel and the iPhone. Obviously, they're competitors in many different spaces, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Apple looks a little bit stronger here, Sharif. I like how you brought that up there, just from a revenue standpoint. So there you go. Apple's still strong, but Google it's not catching any form, and that's the thing, right? I told you I'm not going to try to catch a mean reversion on a stock when the volume profile had just went absolutely skyrocketing to the top side. So we're just consolidating. Oh, what a coincidence! Boom, you get that news headline, and then you continue to the downside. But there we go. NVDA looking pretty good here, guys, for that continuation on the breakout. We're getting that ABCD type pattern right here, and I talk about it a lot. But so let's actually draw it up here, so just so you can kind of get a general idea. So we're gonna go right here. This is A, right? This is B. Oh, that's a B. That's an A, right? This is C. And then what you want to do, so the top is B, the consolidation is C, and then we want to find that D up here as we take that next leg higher, and then the continuation on that front. And that's what we refer to as kind of that stair-step ABCD type pattern. Right. So yeah, there it is. Nice look. 3-bar play to the top side on NVDA, now trading around 114, Sharif.
Yes, sir. All right, we got that ad at the volume weighted average price on Clove. So we got the money fill at 77s, but we've got 84s on, and we're out of the money by 2 pennies right now, and that's the way it is. So this one, it's going to have to hold VWAP. I'm just not going to give it any room. It's done what it needs to do. The volume profile is dropping off. In fact, even when it is increasing, I'm talking about the volume on Clove, they're red candles, red bars, I should say, for the volume there. That's not what I want to see, especially going long. So I feel like I may have gotten a money fill here, but we'll kind of reserve judgment at the moment and see exactly how this trade ends up. Newsmax just took out VWAP, guys. Wow. NMAX, NMAX, above that $25 area. I'm unlikely to trade Newsmax today. I traded CoreWeave yesterday, much to my chagrin, because I feel like anytime I move away from these small cap gappers, I end up paying for it by having a negative day. So I'm just not going to do it, but I wanted to bring your attention to NMAX above VWAP here and up 10%, 10.2% on the day, taking out that 25.25 level now at 25.50 with a high of day at 26.60. I'm interested in this IPO though. STRZ. Sorry, I didn't throw in the ticker there. It's got a 4-candle red retracement right now, but it's still above the 10 EMA, right? And it just wicked below into 17, now popped up back into 1745. Let's have a gander at what the what's it called? The time and sales looks like, or the book here. So we got a 3-penny spread. That is, okay, now widened to 42 pennies. That was really quick. It was 2 pennies, and now it's 48 on the ask and 6 on the bid. I think I might have found one here for you, Adara. I might have found a spready ticker for you. STRZ 48. I don't think it's that spready enough, but 48 on the ask and 6 on the bid, Adara. IPO up 113%. STRZ is the ticker, guys. It's now below the 10 exponential, but still above 17. Volume weighted average price 1660. From what I see, I'm seeing 06s again on the level 1 and 48s on the, 06s on the bid, 48s on the ask. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Like, it's going to be tough to manage risk here, especially if the bottom drops off STRZ. So going to keep my eye on that. We will go to Adara at the big desk. She's got more details on this.
I looked this up. This is actually, it is an IPO, but it's more of a separation than anything else. So apparently STARZ, you may have heard of STARZ, STRZ, or sorry, STARZ is the name of the company. They're an entertainment company. They've separated from Lionsgate and they've returned to being a standalone public company, and they're trading on the NASDAQ as a result. So this is kind of a return to form, I suppose, for STRZ. As for the spread, this is pretty stagnant here. It's not bad, Sharif, but I'd like to see how it interacts before I give my final verdict on this. Also, stay tuned for the statistical analysis of Fed Chair Jerome Powell's ties. It is being posted on X imminently, and it is a lot. Back to you.
Would like a sneak peek too, Adara. Like, if we'll get one. Thank you. When she does, happening now before Neil's lesson of the day in a few minutes. So we'll thank her for that. Very interesting coming up here, guys. I say pay attention to what she has to say. Obviously, it's data-driven. I'm not going to give it away, but it's data-driven.
Very data.
So that's the way it is. That's the situation, Joseph. All right, what do we got over here? GPUs is losing the bid, guys. Here it is. It's making lower lows and lower highs now. We'll see how it acts at the volume-weighted average price. But my concern with this one, let's flip back to the 5, is a double top. That was really my concern with GPUs. Alas, the neckline, I'll submit to the neckline is $7 on a closing basis. Look at that candle on the 5-minute chart, guys, at 10.55. It has a low there of 683. I think if we lose that, and by extension of that, obviously VWAP, it might be all she wrote there. I'm continuing to watch STRZ, Joseph, because I'm very interested in picking this one up if it does hold up at VWAP. It's got there's one green candle in here, but I'll submit to you this is probably just a candle of indecision. Essentially, in reality, it's a 5-candle red retracement off that high of the day at 1971, now dropping into 17. Let's see how this one acts.
Oh, nice.
What do you got, my man?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the NVDA breakout. It may look like that ship has sailed. We missed the pullback there. Not aggressive enough, but that's okay. We'll find another opportunity. Hopefully we can continue to climb. So yeah, really good, strong sentiment, I guess, our signs of strength, I should say. Yeah, that's more along the lines. So that's what I want to see, right? Big name selling off, and then NVDA holding up relatively strong, and then now breaking out as soon as you get any form of bid here in the overall market. So yeah, let's go. Let's continue to climb. Gorev, hopefully that Apple works out for you. You're starting to get a little bit of a bounce on that one there too. But this is what I was referring to, guys, is just with the likes of Google. I would not be looking for any form of long here today. We'll just zoom in right here. And then you can see where we're putting in decent shares, but just a lot of sideways price action, and then bang. The profile just goes absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, Neil's like looking at it, he's like, oh, that's Google.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just like, damn, you don't want to be fighting this whatsoever. Look for the continuation. You can see these micro pullbacks and then move. Am I not?
No, you're good. Remember what we said about Google the other day?
Oh,
about the PE?
Yeah. Well, guess what? Our guy JB says, never mind the PE. He's like, PE is pointless. Yeah.
I don't know, Joseph. There's a reason why Ford's trading at a 5p and Tesla's trading at 160.
So that's relative. Okay, I understand that, but think about how long Google's been trading at 23 times, and then now was it in the teens, right? Or something like 18, right? What does that display to us? Absolutely nothing, right? No, they're not buying it up. If it's that cheap to the street, why aren't we buying?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, we'll go to Darren in 1 second, guys. But that's exactly what I'm saying. I was feeling like maybe the market felt there was more of a potential headwind than the others,
Google,
right? That's why I was trading at that P. I don't know. That's just how
JB's like, yeah, never mind the PE.
JB's an OG.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, never mind the PE. It's irrelevant. So let's see what's going on. I mean, we were just talking about. We're going to send it to them in a second. 2 weeks ago, Google was trading at 23 times. I'm like, oh, that's cheap. That's
there you go.
Cheap to the street. So why aren't we buying this up? And then bang, now we're trading at 18 times. So there we go.
All right, Adara, what's happening now?
Some sparks are flying at this hearing right now, happening, the congressional hearing with Scott Bessent, that is the U.S. Treasury Secretary. A little bit of intensity. Scott Bessent was just called a hostile witness, but nothing supermarket related. But in case you guys are wondering, yes, we will get more speak ahead of Fed Speak, because I'll be here covering not only this meeting, but also Caroline Leavitt. She's back. She's going to be doing her press conference according to Donald Trump's official schedule, which you could also find on X at TTV Research. She's going to be leading that press conference at 1 p.m. Hopefully she's on time, because then at 2 p.m. we're going to have the FOMC meeting. So very, very busy day of listening to meetings. Here is the NASDAQ. This is continuously making lower highs, lower lows on the 15-minute chart after this nice push to the upside we had. In case you guys were wondering what motivated that push to the upside, it wasn't earnings related. It had to do with the offices of Scott Bessent, previously mentioned U.S. Treasury Secretary, and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. They were both saying here that their offices are saying they're going to be meeting with China on trade. Here is Amazon. AMZN, nice little attempt at bouncing here. This one was really strong after announcing its Vulcan robot. Then we had Google, GOOGL, at day's lows, continuously at day's lows. At GOOGL or Alphabet on watch here after Eddie Q, who is Amazon's Senior Vice President of Services, basically came out and said that they're considering adding an AI element to their search due to some issues with Safari. And as Sharif mentioned there, I did promise to give a little bit of a sneak preview to what you're going to see with this detailed infographic on the ties of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This is but one of the many, many infographics and data sets I've collected. I went through all 54 of his FOMC meetings, or at least the ones that were publicly televised, because there was a period where they weren't doing conferences for any meeting. Regardless, of the 54 you see on camera, Jerome Powell wore his patented signature purple tie 66.7% of the time, or 2/3 of the time. He had a little bit of a fondness for gray ties as well. Blue, slightly smaller. He wore a red tie only one time. There's a whole bunch of other data, including his pattern ties, but we'll get all into that very shortly. Check out X at TTV Research. This thread is being posted currently. And make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content on the show. And without further ado, Neil's going to spend some educational content with his lesson of the day. Please take it away, Neil.
Lesson of the day is I will never wear a tie on this show. I always say never say never. We don't wear ties up in here. It's just not how we roll. But I will say this. Sometimes, and we'll talk some FOMO, sometimes you can get the FOMO when you get out of something too early, but I can live with it. And other times, you shouldn't be able to, because you know it's a bit of a misstep. I'm going to show you a bit of a difference between the two. Actually, I was going to start with Uber, but I can start with Upstart. Like, there's a big difference between, okay, well, why only take, you know, a 46 and a half, goes about $1 in the money. We scalp out of it at like 60, 70 cents. Like, why only take that range? Well, when you have a specific strategy, like a trend break, I'm going to get in on the breakdown under this bar. I'm going to play it. If it bounces off VWAP, get out. That's a defined trade. I'm looking for something very particular. If I get it, I get in. If it shows a bounce off that level, I get out. And then I can always live with that kind of a notion. I'm going against the grain of the move. It's going to the upside. It was never part of I wasn't sitting there thinking I'm going to be short this stock today. So I'm going to get out when it gets to my level. I can live with it. If it goes further down, fine. Fair enough. In this case, it ends up being a pretty solid out. Uber does not end up being a good solid out. However, in this case, it's a trend down, hit the low, trend reversal into VWAP, again, part of a patented plan. I can live with getting out of this and seeing it go further. And I'm looking for, does it really set me up with a clean re-entry? It didn't. Maybe it does here off VWAP. But one more time, I can live with this. I cannot end up with the FOMO because we get our planned trade. I wanted that $1.50. I got the $1.50 move. It goes further, fair enough. Here's what I can't live with. Well, and I can live with it. I just don't like that it happened. Getting out of Apple is not the same thing. Now, obviously, you're not going to find an uglier exit than when I punched out of Apple today. There's simply no question about it. And unlike those other two trades where it gets into the prior support level, it bounces and I trail out. Yeah, well, if I trail out at 197.6, like maybe that's not so bad. It still would be pretty bad. But what ended up happening is there was a news story I interpreted as being bad for Google and who cares for Apple. So when it started flushing through VWAP, I hear Apple is part of the story and not in a negative connotation and just punch out of the position. Now, a lot of times that could end up being the right call, but you've got to think about what is the stock telling you, what is it doing in that moment. It's just starting to work. And you like the short in general. Like I like the whole morning long, I'm like, I want to get Apple short. I want to get Apple short into the 200 to 201 area. Like somewhere in there is where I wanted it short. It's not happening, not happening, not happening. It finally breaks VWAP, we get in, a news story hits, and that causes me to get out as it's starting to work. So as I said, there's a very big difference between when you have a prescribed trading plan where you're going to trade it from step to step and you don't mind. You don't mind getting out, you don't mind FOMO, you're supposed to try to find a way back in. Maybe that break could have been it. Or an upstart, which I can live with because, I've traded the short break, it goes in, it bounces off VWAP, you scalp your trade, you're not looking for that gigantic, oversized move. But when you've got one that is not giving you a sign to get out, even if there is like a headline or something you hear, that's the kind of trade I should have maybe even given the last third to break even on. Like, just give it a chance. Give it a chance. And the difference between, and we all get emotional. I talk about, like, I'm not like an emotional style trader, but there's certain things that are probably going to bother you a bit more and should. I don't really fret that much when I see a stock take my plan and then it could have been even better. I can live with that, and I don't mind that. I don't grade it as a bad trade when it happens because I followed my plan. When you break your plan and don't hold something as far as you normally would, that's where you get yourself into trouble. Because if you have an A to an A plus trade, part of what needs to happen is, like an example, like Apple doesn't need to be my best stock today. It needs to be like 4 or 5 times, whatever my next best stock might be, because that's how good the opportunity was. And anything less than that, you have to see as a bit of a failure. To a certain extent, like you don't want to hate on yourself for a winning trade, but you've got to be able to grade yourself in a more reasonable fashion. So sometimes you can go station to station and it's fine because it's part of your execution plan. But jumping out too early when the tape didn't tell you anything wrong, when you weren't at a key price level, when you just didn't have a good reason to exit the trade, when it's working for you is a big no-no in trading. There's nothing wrong with taking profit, but if you're too aggressive taking profit, sometimes you're not going to give that trade a chance to work. I mean, obviously that's the case here on Apple, which, by the way, pretty good bottoming tail candle on Apple. I just believe in the follow-through. The market just can't seem to get through 19.85. But you've got to be able to hold things a little bit longer. And oftentimes, that just simply means not trading P&L, waiting for something to change, waiting for a key price level. And if you don't get it, just hold. That's simple. Here's your lesson of the day.
I used to be able to call him the hotline dropper. Then I was told I was not allowed to say that anymore because he's a married man, despite the fact that I didn't mean it that way. But the hot information dropper, Neil Roberts, every day around about noon hour, guys. Thank you very much, Neil, for a very informative lesson of the day. And I just happened to find out who our friend George Pickens is. He's
Let's see what the chap looks like.
There he is. He's a big boy, apparently. Neil says he's a bigger receiver. Okay. There we go. Trade alert. What? Pardon me? Went to Georgia, says Neil. So we got George Pickens and 2027 sixth round pick from Seattle in exchange for a 2026 third round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick. I don't think we have too much size at the wide receiver position, so it'd be nice to have this guy. We'll see how Dallas ends up doing this year. But obviously, the match that concerns me the most right now and occupies the majority of my thinking, aside from the trading, obviously, is Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. Today, Joseph, it is a second leg of the semifinal in the Champions League.
How is Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi allowed to be on PSG?
Yeah, that was hot.
crazy.
Well,
That was
hold on, bro.
love,
They were
yeah.
on Barca before PSG. They reunited.
That is so
Their
crazy.
golden days were in
That's
Barca.
like some
bro.
NBA stuff.
So Neymar, Messi, or well, Mbappe wasn't with them. It was Luis Suarez. It was MSN. Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. MSN, bro. That front three. Obviously, Mbappe was with Monaco before that.
Shout out MSN though, just getting the getting the girls' emails there. Get their emails there.
There you go, bro. There you go.
To shout 'em out.
No, I think obviously Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal today. I'm gonna be booking it straight out of here.
What time is it at?
I don't know. Oh, the match?
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So
All right,
9 o'clock European Paris time, 3 o'clock Eastern time here.
So
So Ayo Lewis,
Ayo.
PSG versus Inter in the final. Ayo Lewis, if I come tomorrow and Arsenal is in the final, what are you gonna give me, brother?
Ooh.
What are you gonna give me? I'm not gonna give you anything though if we don't win.
my
Shout out to
guy,
Assassino up there on the ones and twos. Shout out to Andre. All right, guys, I took a couple of beak wetters here on CLOV. I don't know how I feel about this trade, Joseph. Even though we did get a move up here, the lower highs are what is really catching my attention. We got a 90 area high, then 88, then 87. So it's stair-stepping down in a way that we see stocks sometimes stair-step up. So I don't know how I feel about this one. In the money on it now, can flatten out and get the hell out of there, but I'm just too stubborn for that. And as I say that, it drops down, so I should have done it. Yeah, that's kind of the way trading works there. So that's a look. All right, let's have a look at Webull. I want to also mention, before I mention Webull super quick, STRZ lost VWAP. It lost 17. This is the new IPO. And it lost the volume weighted average price. So I'm not interested in this one until the uptrend resumes. And we'll see if it does resume, if at all. Let's have a look at BULL, though, because this one looks like it is, it looks good right now. So Bull trades on the NQ. It's not a bad spread. 17 on the bid, 25 on the ask. Tightening up a little bit right now, down to 21. So that, oh my God, did you see that?
Whoa.
Just as I talk about Bull, it just lost, I don't know, 70 pennies, just like that, but getting bought up again. Remember when I said this one was a bamboozler, and if you had a repeat offender, it was likely to do that same thing again? And I was using this area to kind of make my point, where we were kind of putting in higher highs and higher lows. We're looking bull flaggish. We lose the bid super quick, stops everybody out only to make newer highs. I think that's kind of a sampling of what we just got right there, right? We're kind of looking like we're holding the 10 EMA. We're going to break back into 17.5. It drops all the way down to 1666, the ominous number there, 666s in a row, trying to work its way back above 17. I guess maybe what you can try to base it off is the 20. I'm not going to do that, but right back above. So another specialist breakdown gets everybody stopped out and then moves back up above 17 again. Bull is the bamboozler, guys. We don't need to see a third to know that. We already got two. Yeah, so as much as I love the pattern, as much as I don't want to be on the receiving end of that bamboozlement. So I think I will steer clear of this. Sadly, I don't really see too much in small cap gapper world. It's doing a whole lot right now. What is this PRCH? Okay, let's put this one on here. Megal is not trading in the right way. PRCH, it's up 58%. Okay, this looks okay here. Very bull flaggish with an upward channel. Just took out $10. PRCH is the ticker, boys. This one looks like it was an earnings winner yesterday, climbing there after the bell. Let me just verify that for you. Yes, it is. So this one, March 31st. What? No, that's not it. Hold on one second. Just give me a second over here to make sure this one was an earnings winner. Porsche Group. Yeah, Porch Group. Yeah, Porch Group shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and raised full year 2025 sales guidance above estimates. And that's what we're going to see. We're seeing the day one play. So this one was after the bell, obviously. We hold that level and we add some. So PRCH, not technically a small cap gapper, guys. With this latest move up, it's a $1.02 billion market cap with about 13 million shares traded on the day. And I'm seeing about a 75.8 million share float. Let me just verify that with Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas telling me about 99.5 million share float. But here's what I like the most about this. 19.05% short float. Let's do a bit of a daily here to kind of maybe just kind of gauge where the shorts could be sitting. Oh, wow. I think, well, we definitely squeezed out a lot of shorts here. This is a hell of a rounded bottom on the daily. Okay, so we have not been at this $10 level, ladies and gentlemen, since early February of 2022. Okay, so this has been years, over 2 years now that we haven't been at this level. So you got to assume that we've blown out a lot of shorts already, okay? Because we were trading as early or as recently, excuse me, as April 21st, we were trading at around 475. We even got down to 450. We've more than doubled that. So you just got to assume that short float is no longer 20%. And the shorts that are holding are either continuing to hold their position out of the money or they're from up here. So kind of hard to gauge where the squeeze area could be. In any event, it's been respectful here at times of the 10, but the deeper retracements on the move up the money fills, I should say, seem to be in between the 10 and the 20 EMA. Kind of between that red and yellow line. That's where the money fills are. It's not respecting the 10, and it's not quite making it down into the 20. If it can clear 10 on a decisive basis, I'm interested. Like you can see over here, 11.25, we move up to 10 to reject. We try it again, 11.30, yet again, 11.45. And now we're doing it again. We're doing it live here at $10. So PRCH looking good, Joseph. Earnings winner from yesterday with a larger float, but you got to assume, just given that big price up, that we've probably squeezed out a lot already.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Hopefully you can see this. I see I amped up the old,
oh, yeah, that's
the old
way better,
font
bro.
there. Yeah, it's like that. It's like your parents with their cell phone font right there. But yeah, NVDA is not working for us right now. We're long this, guys, looking for the continuation of this breakout. Thing is with this name, it takes a long time to get the ball rolling, a lot of capital to move it. So hopefully this backside of the trend can hold. If it cracks it, then I'll just hop out. So it's looking like it might here on the 5-minute time frame here. So if I get an open up below, this trend line, then I'm just going to get out of the trade. No part of me taking that. I'm in NVDL. It's 2x levy. So yeah, that's that there. Not going to just slowly dig away at anything that we've gained throughout the day. So I want to start small, give myself wider stops, and if things start working out, we can add into the positions and just take small, like half risk losses on some of these positions here, guys. So yeah, going to be patient. See, there you go. Google just absolutely blowing through through some of these stopping volume signals, and I can't believe it was 165 today. Now trading at 149.5 is absolutely insane as it continues to bleed. So not too good of a look. Palantir continuing to move to the south side as well to 108.50 trading at. If anything's going to bounce, I'm probably going to go with Palantir. That thing can really definitely get the ball moving, especially get that
Google's
snowball
going to go
effect.
SSR, man.
Yeah, it's about to. I mean, Sharif, this thing's down like almost
8.3%.
Yeah, that's absolutely
insane.
insane. And you think it's overdone? I think that's probably slightly overdone, but.
I agree,
no, it
man.
doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter because they'll do what they want to do. And that's what I was referring to earlier, guys. We can take a look at the profile again. Just when you see that type of pressure really step into the underlying, it's just like, man, this is not a stock that you look for that reversion style of play. And that's just my opinion. And what we've seen so far, you can see displayed here that we have multiple chances of stopping volume, and they're like, no, we're continuing to bleed here. That selling pressure is in full effect, and we want to avoid those. We're not going to get that move back towards the volume weighted average price just yet. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the chances of it happening are probably relatively slim just due to that immense amount of volume stepping in here, Sharif. So again, we'll watch out for this one. Maybe you can get a bounce on it tomorrow. We'll zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. Oh my days. Yeah, that is not a good look. Engulfing this whole consolidation consolidation phase right here and heading back towards those lows. And that's what a minus 8% day looks like right there, Sharif. So yeah, tough look here in Google.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But I feel that this is just completely unwarranted. Again, Joseph's absolutely right. It doesn't really matter what the hell him and I think, but I think there's a lot more in the hopper than meets the eye for Google. And if you're thinking that it's going to be their demise because people are going to change the way they search, I think they're a lot deeper of a company than that. That's just my personal opinion.
Let's dive into that a little bit because we know that Google has essentially the most amount of data for this AI thing via the search engine.
Yep.
In my opinion, I think that Google search engine is outdated and they didn't update it quick enough to kind of compete with everybody else. All right, so I think that's a really big factor as well too. They had the ability to, but they just didn't take advantage.
They did, man. They had DeepMind before anybody knew anything about AI. Before we were talking about large language models, agentic AI, any other type of AI you want to talk about, they had DeepMind. They had some of the best minds working in DeepMind about that, and they chose not to pull the trigger. And remember,
because there's things going on in the front office there.
Well, yes and no. Okay, yes, there was definitely some hurdles administratively, but when. Okay, so Google didn't release Gemini right away. That was not their answer to chat. It was another thing called Baird. Okay, and it was never available in Canada. I had to use a proxy to actually give it a try. This is back in 2023, early 23. Okay,
early.
Yeah, and it was decent, but you could tell they scrambled. And they didn't even want to release it because it wasn't perfect. They weren't willing to kind of put their mistakes out there like chat was. Man, we know chat hallucinates. Come on, right? It screws up all the time. But chat threw it out. OpenAI threw it out there. Google didn't want to do that. And they didn't get first mover advantage because of that, right? And so they got to pay the price now, right? I mean, actually, the first mover advantage is a real thing, I think, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of my little take there. Bovin saying GPUs moving up. Absolutely, Bovin. I'm keeping my eye on it over here. You know how I feel about this, Bovin? It's a nice, beautiful, actually, wick candle off the volume weighted average price, off that 7 1/4, and that you're 50 cents in the money if you took that, baby, because we're right up to 7 3/4 now. But I still am concerned about the lower highs and that $8 level, Bovin. I think that, you know, what I'll wait for is a complete clearing of $8. I'm just not going to want to deal with these wicks because we've seen this over and over, Bovin. That $8 level has been a hard level to shake. So, yeah, not saying that there's no trades, anything below 8. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that I'll wait for the $8 trade on that one. Zach Frack, can you check Tesla real quick? Yeah, I can tell you the Katina Man's $4 in the money on Tesla. That's what he's doing over there. We'll look at it for you, though. All right, so Tesla, oh goodness, more blood for TSLA.
Yeah, I mean, that thing should be, honestly.
I know, I told them that you're $4 in the money, Katina, man.
With those, with that earnings report, that thing should be a $200 stock.
Oh, Joseph firing shots. Okay, he doesn't like Elon anymore. He's just putting it out there. Yeah, what would you say?
I agree on get down.
Katina man says get down. He agrees on the get down. All right, yeah, this is ugly. So we consolidate here in the pre. We kind of hold yesterday's aftermarket pump. I'll call this the Besant pop up here when he said that they were going to talk to China. We all know how the market reacted. It dropped right at 6 o'clock. All the charts look like this. We held it in the pre-market. But that was as good as it was going to get, man. Right at 8 o'clock, we started trending down. And I personally perceive this. I don't know how the Katina man feels about it. He's been trading this. But I see this as a downward channel with really no end, right? So we're started basically at 279, maybe 279 mids. And now every time we pop up into the the end of the channel, we're just met with some selling. So I don't think that there's really much of a trend other than to say lower lows and lower highs, all right? Now, I'm reluctant to want to base anything off any of these moving averages or VWAP for that matter. It doesn't look like Tesla's really respected any of those on the day. They kind of look like, sometimes they look like a line of best fit because they intersect right into the middle of the price action. So I don't like the look on Tesla obviously lately, but it is one of my long-term holdings. Not one that I look to sell, and I didn't dollar cost average onto this one either. when we had that market low, I think like about a month ago. So I'm just going to continue to hold what I have, and we'll see where Tesla ends up being in the future. But yeah, Tesla definitely not a good look today. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to chime in, because I'm not trading these large caps anymore.
On Tesla?
So,
yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a great opportunity to buy Tesla. I think FSD and autonomy is most definitely the future. I think us humans are lazy enough, and the fact that we can come in and not necessarily have to drive our vehicles to work, it's going to be game changing. I talked about the evolution of a scooter, even though it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But here we go. I'm ready. Are you? You fire. Anybody can fire it up. Rock, paper, scissors.
Traders funded by Trade the Pool have been cashing out big, Joseph. We're talking about 5,300, 15,200, 36,000. 29,940 on one trade, guys. And here's how it works. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at $47. That's literally your total risk. You trade real shares, guys, not these CFDs, using up to $200,000 in company capital, and you keep up 70% of the profits. There's no margin calls. There's no account blowups. So scan that QR code for Trade the Pool, and you can get 10% off, baby, to start your journey. Shout out to Michael Katz there, the good-looking gentleman there on your screen. All right.
Michael Katz.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Katz. Shout out to Mitch, man. I love Mitch's energy, man. And he always brings heat. He comes there, it's early in the morning. He comes in like at 8:45. He's chipper. He's got good information, and he comes with a good disposition. So shout out to Money Mitch, man. I like that guy, and I hope he hangs around.
Oh, there's apparently I heard Brando say there's rumors that Money Mitch, not Money Mitch Marner, but Money Mitch from Trade the Pool, might be making his way down.
Yeah. He called him out on it the other day. He's like, I think we're gonna see you. Yeah. So definitely, definitely want Money Mitch over here. We had Trader. We have Jeff coming in all the time. We got Raheem. So it'd be nice to have some Money Mitch.
I mean, Raheem he's not too far from here. Anyway.
Raheem lives here, bro.
He lives here. So, I mean, here we go. Raheem. Yeah, watch out, Raheem. He's out there killing the streets. He's telling me the other day, we were talking in the thing. He's like, yeah, we
love
go
that
to
guy, bro.
Nice little cigar lounge. And
he's all about that life. He's all about that life.
I was like, hey, let me come
he
over.
He likes nice suits,
yeah,
nice cars, nice watches.
Hey, Sue guy. Oh, we got the cars.
He's all about that life.
He's a suit guy, too. So, maybe him and Raheem and I will join. Oh, whoa.
Man. There. What's up, Max?
What's up, Max? You'll see this guy maybe this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. He just lives down the street from me, too.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Maximus.
Liberty Village boy.
Maximus Decimus Aurelius.
How's the dog, bro?
He's good. He's all right, man. I mean, he's kind of in that phase where he's kind of becoming a little disobedient. And me, I'm all about obedience when it comes to canines, and I don't care relatively your age or your size. Yeah. So he's going to boot camp ASAP. We're going to get him go through some intensive training.
What is that like?
I don't know. We'll see what he's getting. I want to train him like a Belgium Malinois. Yeah. Just, even though he's only like this big and stuff like that, he's really no threat to anybody. But I mean, I want to train him so he just listens like that. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good.
Right now he's the opposite of that, and it's slightly frustrating, but that's okay. Take him out for a walk. I obviously won't go to the washroom as soon as you get inside. He decides to do that.
Of course he does, bro.
Yeah, so it's just like.
Do you have the diapers for him on the inside?
We got the pads.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But we're trying to get him off the pads into going back into.
Those pads are expensive, my guy.
And you just and we're just like rolling through them. You buy them 100 at a time, 50 at a time, and then sure enough.
That's the thing. You got to get those. You know what? On discount. Get them on bulk.
Yeah. You got to get that. But we're trying to phase those out. I don't want anything. I don't want. To have to do those pads. You got to go outside. But I want him to get his grown teeth in so I can get him one of those big femur bones. Oh. That's like literally the exact same size as him.
Yeah, those are good. Those are real
good. Those are good. Yeah, all right, guys, we'll hop right in. Enough of Milo talk. I was checking in on him on the camera, to be honest with you, because he's home alone these days. So, yeah, we got the old little dash cam or whatever camera going there. Man, Google. We could talk about this all day here, guys. 148.97, just a little bit below 149 here, guys. And there looks like like there's no signs of this this bleeding is going to stop. You've seen that we engulfed this massive range here in this underlying asset, and I was talking about, I kind of like Google for a bounce here. Boom. Yeah, never mind that trade plan. Here you go as we take another 20-cent dive there, Sharif. So tough look here on Google. Apple's holding up relatively better here, and that's a positive sign. NVDA holding the backside of this channel. We're going to wait for a potential bounce. We'll take one more stab on that trade, and then that's it. If we're not going to climb higher, we're going to have to look to follow these shorts. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's breaking down, but it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we just took the short there on goggles. All right, we're taking some money to the downside over here. We'll see if we can get some more. Here I'm waiting in the high 50s. Let's see, there's a definite buyer at 60, at least for now. I mean, it still feels like it's super heavy to the downside. So we'll keep an eye out on that. GOOGL, a bit of a tougher look, man. I still think this is highly overdone. But obviously in the short term, it is what it is. And you're going to just have to deal with it. There we go. We're taking out all the prints there. So, wow, what a move down there on Google. That was just 50 pennies just like that, man. Crazy. Okay, so that's it's interesting there. Wow, we're 9% now, boys. 9%, 8.96. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at GOOGL or GOOG. Eek, and there's volume, guys. There's ample amount of volume. My goodness, Google's volume is rivaling NVIDIA's. We have 65 million shares traded on GOOGL, 67.5 on NVIDIA. I've never seen that, where Google's volume rivals NVIDIA. Google's volume is always far less. Oh boy, yeah, now we're below 9. So anyway, it is what it is, and we'll keep reporting on that. If we have anything new, obviously Adira's at the big desk, and she'll let us know exactly what's happening there. All right, so that's the situation, guys. Sorry, I'm not in any trades of note at the moment. I did get stopped out at Clover there. Oh, it's not Satea. What's up, Satea?
Oh.
All right, I guess Satea's on the position board there, but take your time, Andre. Everything's fine. It doesn't really matter. All right, so here's what we're looking at, guys. I think I might try to get into PRCH. It's been having a lot of trouble with 10. As I mentioned, though, I think the money fills are somewhere in between the 10 and the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. We're kind of right at the 10 right now, so if we can get maybe a money fill in the mid-80s for a possible higher low and then a breach through 10, I think that might be a good one. But I got nothing on right now. I don't like the look of any of these small cap gappers, quite frankly. Yeah, maybe ASST a little bit. I've been keeping an eye on this one. I know Tisha was looking at it, and I definitely get that, but it's still showing me lower highs, right? We have that area high at 67. Then we have an area high at 58, and then we have an area high at 50. So every single time, it is putting in lower highs. So I don't know if I want to jump into ASST. I just don't like it at the moment. It's up 291%. It's above VWAP. It meets all my criteria. I'm not trying to say that, but the pattern is what it is. The trend is what it is. And it's lower highs and lower highs. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate that. So we're back there on the board as normal. So keep an eye out on that, guys. What else do we got over here? GPUs, again, true to form. I know that it failed. That 7 and 7... What was that? 7 made 80s? Yeah, so end up going up to 7 made 80s, and it's making yet another low. So GPUs ranging a little bit here. It feels like maybe 8 or high 7s with resistance, and then 7.25 at the volume weighted average price for support. That's kind of what GPUs feels like at the moment. Not really liking the look of this one, Jib, either. Yeah, Joseph, I mean, I gotta tell you the truth, brother. There's just not much for me to trade right now. I keep looking at the scanner. I look at the chat to see if anybody is letting me know anything's breaking out, and there really isn't anything. So I'm going to stay clear for a moment, keep my eye on the scanner, keep my eye on the chat. And in the meantime, guys, if you want me to look at something for you, tag me so that I do see your tag, and I'll be more than willing to look at it for you, give my honest opinion on it. And yeah, that's the situation. Ticker Tantrum, ELAN. Let's have a look at Elan. Bring that in. ELAN, not a ticker I am familiar with. What is this? Elanco Animal Health. Okay. All right, not bad look, man. 20%. Not a small cap gapper. It's 5 2/3 billion market cap with about 5 4/5 million shares traded on the day. Let's throw our friend ELAN there. It's not my friend. Calm down.
He's your friend.
Oh, Oh, we'll see. If we trade it.
Animal health.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good call, Jefferson. No, but seriously, just printed the high day there, or local high, excuse me, at 1140. The high of the day, no, that's actually not the high of the day. That's a pre-market high at 925. That got into 1143. So it looks like we have an 1137 high a day right there on ELAN. This one also looks very respectful of the 10 EMA. So not a bad look for ELAN over here. We'll keep an eye out on that one. Walt Witchell's Devs is cheap, but too cheap. Let's have a look. DEVS. Okay. So this one is DevStream. Yeah. So I don't like these penny stocks, that quarter penny, 50 cents. I like to typically trade them as they approach that $1.85, 90, and I get like that. In addition to that, my man, what's his name? Walt Winchell. I have a couple of rules, Walt, that you may choose to espouse or dismiss altogether. I have two rules for these small cap gapper like stocks, that they have to be above their pre-market high if they traded in the pre-market. This one didn't. This one really started getting going there at 1130. And as well, they have to be above that white line right there. That white line is the volume weighted average price. The price action has to be above that, and it has to be above the pre-market high. This one is trading below that, so it'll have to work up on a closing basis higher than that 28 penny area. It clears 28 pennies on a close, then we can have a discussion. But until then, DEVS is on my crap list. What I'll do for you, though, because I think you're a newer viewer, I haven't seen you before, I definitely want to trade this one if it is viable. So what I've done is put an alert a little bit higher than the volume weighted average price, so I'm notified if that works its way up there. Let's see what else people are talking about there in the chat. Any tags here? Oh, John. I checked on Elan, triple bottom on the daily, but right on bounce resistance on the daily as well. Shout out to John. Bovin, B-I-Y-A climbing up. My other pair of eyes, a.k.a. Bovin Patel. B-I-Y-A. Baya International. Okay, I did see that one on my scanner though, Bovin. My issue with this one, my beef with this one, it's got less than 1 million shares traded on the day, 840,000. Bro, it's 12:30. Is this one gonna wake up yet or what? So I definitely don't like the volume profile on this, and you can barely see the volume bars, dude. They're doing less than 50,000 shares per 5-minute candle. No, that ain't it. So BIYA, good pattern, but definitely light on volume, not for me. Joseph.
Yeah, let's go Vlad Tenev there. Yeah. My guy Katina, man, is long some Vlad right now.
Hey. You like our defenseman, that guy, Tenev guy? What's his first name?
Something
Tenev, right?
Yeah, something Chris Tenev.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He played solid D, man. Let's go Leafs tonight too. By the way, yeah. So big game.
What was
tonight.
going on? Oh, any word about the goalie?
No, I didn't check the headlines or anything like that. I'm assuming
He's not playing Katina, man?
Yeah, he's most definitely.
So he's in concussion protocol?
Yeah,
okay.
most definitely.
He doesn't know what he's in, but he's not playing.
That's not a good sign. So let's go Joey Wall. We'll probably take the L tonight. This is what I said, though.
Whoa.
I said Leafs win game 1, probably drop 2 and 3. Lucky to inch out in game 4, and then we probably lose 5 and 6. But, they looked good. Did
they sweep us last year?
I think it was in 5 or something like that. It was in 4 or 5. Okay. We only won 1 game. But, different team. I think our defense core is it's significantly stronger than what it was. We got Oliver Ekman-Larsson. We got Chris Tanev back there. We got that Simon Benoit guy back there as well, too. So some solid players.
Okay.
I'm liking that back. That top 4 is looking really good. So let's go Leafs tonight, guys. We'll see it pull it up. I got the IPTV set up, too. So we'll be watching it. I won't be watching the games on my phone anymore. I'll be watching it on the TV.
What'd you get for the TV there? That allows
IP.
you to watch it. What?
The IPTV. What's wrong? What? I never had anything.
Do you not know?
No.
IPTV.
What?
Kind of great market. You know?
Is it? Hey, sorry. Hey, man.
There we go. My boy doesn't care. You can't phase him.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to cross those lines, I guess, sometimes, man. So see you later, Netflix. See you later, Amazon Prime and Crave and everything along those lines. Man, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all gone. They're out the door. I watched that movie.
You can have my Crave, bro. I don't even log in. I have it free with my cable account. I gave it to Neil. I'd never, ever, ever use it.
Okay.
You can have it.
Yeah, all right. I'll take that from you. I watched that Sinners movie last night. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes,
And?
to me, is a push. Like, a 98 is like SPR, Shawshank Redemption,
Agree.
like Moonlight and stuff, like movies along those lines. I don't
And?
know if Sinners deserves a 98%. It wasn't horrible, but I'm not going to put it in the realm of Saving Private Ryan and
That's a
Gladiator. And yeah, but I mean, those guys have listening ratings, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's not horrible, but it's just not something that I would necessarily do. But
Fair.
yeah, all right, guys, let's go. Come on, let's get a bounce here, NVDA. One thing to note, so let's just do our primary trend lines right here. You can see we're sitting on the backside of this little one right here. So if this can hold up, then we might be sitting in a good position. But if it crashes to low, then we'll just get out of the trade and look for something else. I can't believe Google is still bleeding here. 147.95. We'll pull it up for you guys. That's going to hit SSR. If it hasn't already, are we down 10% yet? 9.3, oh, 9.25 there. So still continuing to bleed. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit that. But here you go. You can see it on the daily, just engulfing multiple days of gains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. 15 days right there, just absolutely obliterated in a span of about an hour or so there, guys. So yeah, tough look there on Google. And I mentioned this before, this is not an underlying that I would necessarily be looking to take a long on, just due to how weak it is. And you can just see that profile right here, guys, just really start to pick up in volume, Sharif. But we're getting a little bounce here in NVDL. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit to the position, but I want to crack 38 on NVDL before I do add to this. And then we'll double up the size to see what we got going on.
All right, shout out to my man Alex Goys, $5 super chat. My man dropping cash in the chat. Sharif, I know you've done it before, but can you go over your scanner settings again for me? Absolutely, brother. All right, so I'm going to go over more than what I've said before because I never included the columns, the data points that I want to see on my scanner. But the two filtering parameters that I have are price and volume. That's it. So you know how these guys are already preset for you, so you can say, oh, show me scanner of 52-week highs, or 52-week lows. Or in my case, it's a gap scanner. I want to see what the biggest gappers are on the day, the ones that are opening up substantially higher than their closing print yesterday. So if you're looking for a preset one, or if your platform has a preset one, that's the one you want to look for. Biggest winners, sometimes they're called different things, highest percentage mover, whatever. You know what I mean? You're looking for that one that's up big on the day, right? Now, here's what I do. I include 85 pennies as my filtering price. Now, I never did it that way. I used to use $1, but Neil gave me the idea. He's like, look, man, you know, you want to know about those ones approaching the dollar before they get to the dollar. Sorry, excuse me here. I'm just going to interrupt. DEVS is triggering, which means that my alert on DEVS, which means it's back above the volume weighted average price. One of our friends there in the chat was telling me about this one. There it is. Working above VWAP over here. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. If it closes above VWAP, I'm definitely interested in that one, despite the fact that it's 25 pennies. So that's number one, 85 penny filter so that I can know as it approaches that dollar. Why? It's a different trade north and south of $1. At least that's been my observation. You know, there is Luis gave us Luis Barbado, a great small cap trader from Barcelona, Spain, obviously real trading. He gave us kind of a little bit of information that I didn't know. He's like, you know, there's certain algorithms that won't turn on if a stock is trading below that dollar, right? So very interesting to know that piece of information. In addition to that, there's also that 4 decimal places below the dollar, meaning that you have different levels to post these sell orders. So it becomes a thicker trade. So number one, 85 penny price filter to know about that one approaching to the dollar. Now, volume filter as well. I don't want to see these ones that are doing no volume, man, because it doesn't interest me. It's not easy to trade. You know, they're usually quite spready and they're dangerous because there's no volume. So minimum volume profile, 250,000. I'll tell you why I keep it so low. It's because I start scanning for these in the pre-market. So in the pre-market, they haven't had an opportunity really to do that much volume. In reality, what I want to see is like above $1 million minimum. The 250 is just to kind of, you know, maybe get advanced notice of something that may break out. In reality, though, I want it above $1, and I want it doing more than 1 million shares on the day. Now, that's the price, or those are the filter parameters. What I include, are we going to Adara? Okay, so I'll tell you what I have on my columns, the actual information that's shown on my scanner when we get back from Adara.
Strap in, everyone. This is the product. This is kind of a labor of love. This is a lot of work. I previewed this project previously, mentioned it previously. This chart takes all 54 of Fed Chair Jerome Powell's televised and publicized FOMC conferences where he is on camera and looks at A, the rate decision, B, what color tie was worn, and C, the S&P 500 move. Yes, there is a 54 of these, and as you can see here, he wears purple the majority of the time. We already went over that in a pie chart. What I think is pretty interesting too is the fact that generally the market's pretty flat on these Fed days. I think it's also worth noting this because we're only about 2 hours away, actually closer to 1 hour away from that FOMC decision. Furthermore, here is a handy legend showing what each of these symbols means and how to kind of correspond this with tie color. Furthermore, these little dashed lines, that means it was a patterned colored tie. So a patterned blue tie, a patterned purple tie. Now I realize this is a lot, and you might be like, Adara, why was this research project undertaken? Well, what's interesting is there actually is a little bit of a correlation when it comes to some of these closes. Here is all of the 54 Powell FOMC meetings. I tallied how many times you closed red and green. It's pretty close, just slightly majority here red. About 52% of the time we close red, 48% of the time we close green. Except for when he wears blue or patterned ties. In those cases, there is an overwhelming chance that we close red. 75% of the time we close red when Powell wore a blue tie. 66.7% of the time we close red when he wears a patterned tie. But what else? What about the rate decisions? Do they correlate with his tie colors? Now, of course, it's worth noting by the time Powell picks what color tie he's wearing, very likely they've already decided the rate decisions, and we certainly already know by the time he stepped on the podium. But it's interesting nonetheless. Overwhelmingly here, we see that on average, the FOMC has held rates while Powell has been Fed chair. That's backed up by purple ties. That's certainly backed up by gray ties. But it's not really backed up here by blue ties because he has never had rates hold while he's worn a blue tie. Furthermore, we've mostly seen rate increases while he's worn a blue tie. And also a lot of those rate increases, if you go back to the first chart that I showed, are of more than 25 basis points. So Powell tends to be at his most hawkish when wearing a blue tie. Now, again, I want to really clarify, correlation does not mean causation. By no means am I trying to assert that this has anything to do with FOMC decisions, but I think it's interesting, and I think given the fact that even reporters have been asking Powell about his tie choices as of late, I think it's worth talking about. I also want to add, Powell's exclusively worn purple ties starting in December 2023, at least for his FOMC conferences. Given things that he said about purple being a politically neutral color, in addition to his professed love of purple ties, it could be a politically neutral choice because he started wearing exclusively purple ties when the election cycle began, about a year before the 2024 election. So again, a lot of this pure data analysis combined with some qualitative analysis. But here you are. Here are Powell's ties. These are not even all the charts I made for this. You can go and X at TTV Research for a full analysis. But we'll go back to the Bash Brothers for some small cap trading action.
I love it. I love it. Adara, has he ever worn a green tie?
He has only worn red, blue, purple, and gray ties, and then patterned gray, blue, and purple ties. He only wore one red tie, which is why I didn't include red ties for a lot of those pie charts.
Pull that back up one more time. I need to see. Okay, so there we go. Purple ties. We're looking for a purple, gray, or a pattern tie for this potential hold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or there you go.
Pattern. Okay.
Yeah. So there's more options there, my man.
All right, there we go.
Lots of variables.
Lots of variables. She says yes. There's
definitely lots of variables. Speaking of that, Tina Man's long Google. He's getting that bounce. Nice work on that front. Gore mentioned it as well too. So you're getting a nice little bounce on these hammer candles that these guys are referring to. And that's kind of what you want to see. That close is nice and clean. You got a nice tight risk profile on that front. Thanks NVDA for being such a rocking stock sometimes. This thing is honestly, guys, like I'm getting, Apple I've absolutely blacklisted for such a long time. I did. I'm like, yo, I'm not trading this thing.
Oh, trade, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm like, from an intraday standpoint, I remember my first year, my first like 6 months, I would trade it a lot. And then after that, I heard Kramer say to me, own it, don't trade it. And then after that, I could never get the ball rolling on it. And so I literally, unless there's a high level catalyst or it's earnings, I don't even look at it from a day-to-day basis because you know that volume is going to be there every morning. And this stock, NVDA, is starting to approach that just own it, don't trade it territory.
Bang.
Tina Man loves it and everything, but it's just sometimes it's just the ebbs and flows of this underlying really grinds my gears sometimes. So we'll be patient on it. We'll hold on to it. I mean, it's some days I have really good sessions on it. My best days have been on NVDA, but sometimes I've just considering I've had my best day on it, it's just like, okay, I traded too much, and then you just get absolutely smoke showed on it. But $5 super chat, Sharif.
Okay.
Hey, what's you all perspective doing options on the SPY versus individual
Joey options?
Yeah, on individual stocks. I mean, you get the basket with the indexes. I mean, like with the indices. So individuals, they can move on their own. They don't just kind of move in tandem with some things. But I guess to each their own, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you're trading the Qs, they're obviously more expensive, and the SPY, they're more expensive than some underlyings. You also have zero DTEs with those, where certain assets, stocks don't necessarily have zero DTE. You got to go weeklies on those fronts. So there's a bunch of different things, but for me, there's no difference. It just depends on what you like trading from a vehicle standpoint.
Agree 100% with that. All right, guys, I'm going to look for my man GL there talking about Tempest AI. I will look at it in a second for you, but I want to finish talking about my scanner. So I'm just going to show real quick over here, guys. Here's what we got. We got the price. We got the change percentage. Now, the change percentage is from 4 a.m. or whenever your platform starts populating, okay? Mine does at 4 until the current. But I also have change since open. I want to know the ones that were running in the pre-market versus the ones that started running after the bell. So I always keep those two in there. So change percentage starts populating the move up or down from 4 a.m., the change since open, obviously since 9:30. Next to that, I've got the gap percentage up on the day. What's the gap? It's the difference, the variance between the closing price, the prior trading day at 4 o'clock, and the open price, the subsequent trading day at 9:30. What that gap is there also is of interest to me. Clearly, I like volume as well. I want to know what the hell the volume is doing. Average volume as well, to kind of know, are we in an outsized day, or is this kind of just a regular run-of-the-mill day for the stock? The 5-minute volume as well. I want to know, has the volume been coming in recently, or was it, an hour ago? Because sometimes just looking at the volume can be a little bit misleading. I mean, you don't really know, did it do volume earlier or do volume now? So I throw 5-minute volume in there, and then I also put the shortable. Obviously, I'm not looking to short these on my own platform. What I want to know is, are they easy to borrow? It's a different type of trade when a small cap gapper is easier to borrow. It's sometimes kept down a little bit more, because if people can get, all sorts of people can get shorts for it, there may be more likely to want to short it versus whether it's harder to borrow or more expensive. Like, for example, you'll often see me look to the Katina Man and the Neil and to say basically, hey, guys, can you guys get me shorts for this, shorts for that? And they'll tell me, they'll be like, hey, this one, it'll cost you, well, on real trading, it's super cheap, 10 cents for 100 shares, 15 cents for 100 shares, whatever it is, right? So if you got to pay for shorts, it makes the barrier to entry a little bit harder. So I also want to know about that. So those are the columns that I have there that show me exactly what I want to see for these small cap gappers. That's what we're doing right now. Joseph, I'm going to send it to you because I just punched into bull.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Tom Train says, Joe, would you take a swag at looking at the Q, 0DT option stats to see where we might go from here today? Yeah, for sure. We can take a look at that. Great question. We can most definitely take a look at some open interest, because I like that. I want to get.
I like that. Where the money at?
Where the money at?
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-na.
I would like to just get like a digital board of the options.
Oh.
That'd be cool, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
A nerd like that, I guess.
You're talking to
Yeah, good stuff here, guys. 0DTE, today's expiration cycle on the Qs. We can be trading within a range, so let's see. Let's first establish what we got for a high and a low. So we got 479.65. I want to go around that on the put side to see what we got going on. So 480.65 6,000 current open contracts. So you can see that level coming in well and us taking a nice solid bounce off of that. Where have we rejected throughout the intraday session? 483. Let's go around those specific strike prices to see if we have anything. And there's nothing that stands out really, to be honest with you. These are 0 DTE, so that OI isn't going to be crazy or anything along those lines. Here, you guys can take a quick gander for yourself. So there you go. We can see, what was that low? 479, 480 there. That's going to be the highest on the put side relatively, and then you can see that holding nice and strong as a base. And then on the call side, you can see that we also rejected 484, we'll call it flat, and then you can see we gonna run into that 485 strike price in that 487. There's some possible overhead, so there you go. That can be a range on the day between 480 and 484, 485 there, guys. So that's just what I look at, and I wait for the market to open up sometimes as well too, to just kind of get that gauge and see what we may be going on. I enter positions. See, that's the thing. That's where I fault sometimes. It's like, okay, I'll enter a position, I'll see the level reject multiple times, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, let me take a look at the options chain and then be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense why that's necessarily not working, instead of looking at the chain first and always having it up beside my underlying and then seeing like, oh, okay, this isn't the best idea to take a long off of this because we have a large supply zone, that momentum is cooled off since the opening drive, et cetera, and the overall market seems weak. So there we go, NVIDIA boom, we're in that, you know, we're in NVDL. Are you in NVDA there, Katina, man? Am I in it? Am I? What kind of question is that, Joseph? Am I in it is right. We know you're in it, my
Get him,
guy.
Katina, man.
Nice work there, brother. I know you're in Vlad as well, Vlad Tanev as well, so that's a good look.
Shout out to Vlad.
And some Sundar Pichai here, Google. So there, yeah, exactly. So he's just picking these longs off here. So yeah, good luck. Let's see if we can crack the high day on NVDA here, Sri.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at Tempest for our friend GL there, because he asked many times. So let's look at what's going on with Google, Katina Man. The Katina Man is $1 in the money. Are you long or short, brother? The guy is long. 149er. Shout out to my man, Katina Man. Get it, Katina Man.
The man, Katina.
Yeah, I get it, baby. All right, we're doing it live here. Just checking on my position here on my friend Bull. All right, we're wetting the beak there. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's gravy. TEM. So Tempest AI, we obviously know this one to be a Cathie Wood favorite. Let's start first and foremost by starting at that daily. See what the sitch is. Okay, so it looks like a sound wave, baby. A little high, a little low. So this one, hard to discern any sort of trend. What we can try to gauge is areas of support and resistance. Clearly, you can see there's a buyer here at 40. At the extremes, it does go down into the low 30s, but a lot of support here at 40. Now, kind of looking at this from the high side, hard to read, man. So many different highs and area lows. Yeah, this is a bamboozler. Look at this chart, bro. Look at this. This is it right here.
That's the daily.
What's the trend here, Joseph?
That's a daily?
Sideways.
That's a daily?
That's a daily, baby. Yeah, it's hard to read any sort of trend on this.
Honestly, for me, Sharif, like
sir.
if I see that when I roll through my basket of stocks, like on my home platforms, I'll go through it. Yeah. I wouldn't even look. Yeah, it's just like boom, next, see you later.
Agree.
And I think that's like a really big skill to acquire. Like I was talking about Google here, and I'm like, okay, I see that type of selling pressure. Just forget about it and find something else. And that's just me, right? Like that's just me personally, because I've been doing this and I know I don't want to be fighting something necessarily. Like we know that trading's hard enough. So what we want to do is, that's why you run your scanner, Sharif. You're going over the scanners, is because you're now kind of breaking down. You're eliminating so many underlying assets, so many stocks that you can just hyper focus on a small basket. And I think that's where the true success lies, man, is just eliminating a lot of the noise and finding things that work with you.
Well said. Very well said, Joseph. Seriously, though, that is actually one of the, it's kind of like an underrated skill, is knowing which ones to pass on and which ones to focus on. So can't agree more with you there, Joseph. I got to tell you, if I can show the chart, thank you, Assassino. Look, I like the Tempest AI idea, and I don't want to pretend like I know more than Cathie Wood, because I don't, but I'm looking at the chart, and the chart displeases me. It's kind of hard to discern any trend. What I would say is, if you're really interested in getting in the name from a fundamental perspective, because there's really no technical reason to get into this, you should be picking it up in the 40s to high 30s. It seems to have a local area of support in that level. I would say to you, And again, not financial advice of any sort. I would say to you, though, a breach of that $30, get the hell out of there, because $30 hasn't been breached since basically August of last year. And I'll submit to you also that that day was Black Monday. Okay, that was the unwinding of the yen carry trade. So the fact that it dipped down there, we already know, was an anomaly because almost everything recovered after that day. So anything below 30, I'd be gonzino, but I'd be picking it up likely, if I was to pick this up, which I'm not, in the 40s to mid 30s. If you're really lucky, the low 30s there. All right, Joseph, we're doing it live here on BULL. Multiple prints to the high side over here. This one's still going unprinted. I'm talking about 1688. It's above the volume weighted average price. It did find support at VWAP. That's exactly where we got in. We got 42s on right now, so I do have the bottom wick. That always feels good. It doesn't mean that we're going to do well on the trade, though. We still have to execute the outs. So right now, there is a seller of note here at 75 pennies. I'm looking for a move back into 17. I feel we may have resistance at 17 given how long we use 17 for as support. Case in point, look at all these trends or these wicks here, all defending 17. Even the bamboozlement that we saw here on BULL that breached 17 was quickly bought up. So I feel there may be resistance on bull at 17 now that we've given up the ghost on it, but I'm definitely looking at taking some out in front of that. So my next peak, what are there? 88s. I've taken some out over here, and I have 2 more outs on this. So one at 88, and then we'll see if we can take 17. I'd be pleased as punch. The gap, the spread is opening up. I've seen it as tight as 2 pennies, and I've seen it as wide as 20 for as long as I've been watching. BULL, Webull, a recent IPO, not a company that we don't know. We know it on this side of the border. I'm sure you guys know it as well. On the south side, they obviously kind of like what's it called? A Robinhood, so to speak, but just doesn't offer as much as Robinhood does. Obviously, Robinhood diversifying now. They're just not an online trading platform that doesn't charge fees. Robinhood, shout out to V10ev and company. So BULL, we're involved in this bad boy right now, looking for more. We'll see exactly what we get. I've already moved up my stop to break even. In fact, I didn't, Joseph. I lied about that, so we're going to do that right now. What's going on over there, Katina, man?
Oh, man.
Google's 150. My man is $1 in the money. He's long 149, baby. So shout out to the Katina, man. Taking the reversion right back up, baby. So shout out to you. Hope you print up multiple storms on that, Katina, man. And you wet the beak as well multiple times. Just want to use all those animations. Bovin, GPUs. Held VWAP and climbing. Bovin, it's been holding VWAP all day, brother. It's nothing new about that, my man. Have a look back since we took VWAP, Bovin. Essentially 9:30 this morning, we've been holding it. So it's not a new new thing that we've been holding VWAP. But thanks for that, Bovin. Brandon Franklin, Webull is 100 times better than Robinhood. All right. Now, we're talking about 2 different things here, Brandon. I think you may be talking about the actual platform that you buy and sell stocks on. What I was saying is Robinhood is diversifying a lot more than just to be, that platform that doesn't charge you commissions on trades, right? They're diversifying entirely different. They're trying to get into wealth management for Gen Z, right? And younger millennials as well. So I do like that aspect of them. We saw the gold card. We saw many different things from Robinhood. I think the price action reflects that on the chart. But I respect your opinion. I just think maybe we're talking about 2 different things. Jamlocky or Jamlossy. Can you tell me how to pronounce your name? Because you've been in the chat a long time now, and I don't want to keep mispronouncing it if I am. So is it Jamlocky or Jamlossy? In any event, could you have a look at Berkshire, please? I know that Adara was able to secure some shorts yesterday on Berk B, thanks to my friend Neil, who was able to get them for her in the pre.
Thank you, Neil.
So let's have a look. Yeah, you didn't see that?
I seen it.
Your friend Donald there. All right, Adara, what the hell is going on? No? Oh yeah, okay. I thought it was. I thought our friend Donald was chiming in again.
Sharif,
yes, sir.
Sharif, there's one. Don't look. There's one tech stock in the top 5. I'm not going to tell you which one. I'm sure you can see it on your side. But it has now put in a new high a day. What is that tech stock that has put in that new?
The tech stock. It's going to be Netflix, obviously.
Did we put in a new high a day? I said it was top 5.
We did, yeah. Oh, my bad. Okay, so it's NVIDIA.
Microsoft. My guy.
Microsoft.
See, I knew that was a tough one. There we go. We got him with that one.
What is this guy? What are you trying to get me for, bro?
I was just asking. It was a trivial question. I gave you the clues, top 5, put in a new high a day, and there it is. Someone in the chat
What a
just
guy.
mentioned it there, brother. Let's see if you got it. There we go. I mean, here we are. Someone said Meta. All right, we'll take a look at Meta here.
Okay, thank you, Gem Lossy.
We'll take a look at that one here momentarily. But yeah, nice look here on Microsoft. You would think the market would be significantly stronger, but Google and AAPL raining on today's parade, that is for sure. But let's take a look at META. I still think this name is a buy. Okay, it's right around that high a day as well, too. It didn't construct one as quickly as I was referring to. But yeah,
Did you get that alert?
On
the emergency alert. Yeah. You got that,
I seen it on the TV. Yeah, I seen it.
Saw it on the TV.
Yeah.
All right.
So there we go. I mean, like, still down 18% off of those all-time highs there, guys. So maybe still picking up this name at a discount. I mean, we were beaten it to a pulp at this point, down 35% from that peak to trough there, guys. So I mean, super tough look, but a nice recovery, a lot of gap ups and everything along those lines. You can see a lot of similarities within the price action. We can just do some basic TA and just see what we have going on there, sitting on the backside of this trend, and if you want to call this a channel as well too. So really good look there on Google, not the best.
My man Ozan's back in the chat.
He said, hey man.
I like it when Ozan's in the chat, man.
He said holler at me. He said, guess who's back? And I knew it was Ozan. So yeah, good look.
Look, we know that you're not going to let him stay at your place, but are you at least going to invite him over for dinner?
I thought you were going to.
Well, we can both take.
I thought you guys were going to be cooking up eggs. Because I know you got.
See the hard-boiled eggs that we got back there?
Well, no, you probably
breakfast,
took them
some
all.
disassembly required. Like what?
Is that
Well,
what it
obviously
said?
you got to take off the eggshells, bro.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not a big hard-boiled egg guy.
I just like eggs, Joseph.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I couldn't tell. I didn't know a guy eats a dozen in the morning. That's insane. There we go, drop.
All right, Joseph, we're going to do the
take it up.
news. So if you have anything you want to get into before we weasel into the news.
Not right now. I mean, Google's bouncing. Sharif, NVDA is just chopping around a little bit here. So we'll just be patient on this one. Don't want to get caught up in the noise. If we break through that high a day, then we'll be positioned relatively well. And yeah, Ozan said he's going to be paying for everything.
Good, bro. Ozan is an OG, bro. All right, guys, we're going to do the news, Assassino. So, yeah. All right, guys, Uber. Look, it's down 2% on the day. I get that, but I still think it was a really good earnings report. I think Uber is really making big boy changes here today. So let's talk about how they did. Earnings per share beat. Revenue missed. So it was a top line miss, a bottom line beat there. So they missed a little bit light on revenue. They're still growing, big boy. Year over year revenue growth, 14% year over year net income. Look at this, guys. These guys lost $654 million last year, okay? Close to 2/3 of a billion. This year, they printed over $1.75 billion in profit. They're taking that home. Remember, we always talk smack about Uber? Oh, they don't make any money. Oh, they don't make. Well, now it's all over. They make money. They've been making money for almost a year. The stock, Dara said, get it, Uber. All right, here's how they did. Mobility, so when you're actually calling an Uber to go different places, they printed about $21.18 billion on that, 13% growth. Delivery, so Uber Eats, obviously, 20.38, so kind of a little bit less than mobility, but look at that, growing faster than mobility, 15% year-over-year growth as they maybe take consumers from DoorDash. Monthly active platform consumers, 170 million people are using this actively every month. And total trips, Joseph, 3 billion trips on the quarter. Dog, that's crazy. 18% year over year. Look, the guidance was good as well. Gross bookings between 45.75 to $47.25 billion, with their EBITDA outlook looking good as well, $2 billion to $2.12 billion. And this is what's interesting here, the autonomous vehicle push. Look, I hate to put it so crudely, but the drivers that are driving the cars are costing Uber a lot of money. And I hate to put it like that because a lot of people obviously rely on this for their side hustle, but they want to take what you got. Let's cut the BS, all right? If there's money that they can take out of your pocket, they will take it. And so autonomous vehicles obviously help put the margins back in their corner. So he's calling, or the CEO, Dara, and I'm not even trying to say his last name, He says, autonomous vehicle push is the single greatest opportunity ahead for Uber. I think most of us would agree with that. He's already doing 1.5 million annualized AV trips, autonomous vehicles. He's using, partners like Volkswagen, Avride, May Mobility, Aurora, as well as names that we know, like WeRide and Pony. Momenta, I don't really know, but those are the people that he's using. U.S. partners are Volkswagen, Avride, May Mobility, and Aurora. Their global partners for autonomous vehicles are WeRide, Pony AI, and Momenta. So that's what the Uber guide, or the Uber, earnings report look like. Now, we heard about our friend Scott Bessent yesterday at 6 o'clock, move up the markets, right? We all saw that earnings, or that move up at around 6 on either the futures or or the aftermarket trade on some of these large caps. So Scott Bessent said yesterday that he and U.S. trade representative by the name of Jameson Greer will meet their Chinese counterparts this weekend in Switzerland. There's going to be a Saturday and a Sunday meeting. The talks will include the Chinese Vice Premier, He Lifeng, who is Beijing's top trade official. Also on the agenda, this matters very little to me, they're going to meet the Swiss president as well. The tariff war obviously has been mounting. Bessent saying recently that the tariff levels of 145% are unsustainable, but he really emphasizes that they're unsustainable for China. Obviously, he's not going to say that for himself. He called the current conditions equivalent to an embargo, signaling, that openness to kind of resolve these tensions. And he also emphasized the goal here was not to strike a deal, to come back holding a piece of paper and say, hey, look, we struck a deal, is to de-escalate. And so he kind of setting realistic expectations for the weekend meeting. So maybe kind of under-promise, over-perform kind of situation. We'll have to see if that's what he's looking to do. He doesn't want to decouple. He says he wants fair trade. Greer also echoed the same sentiment, saying the aim here is to rebalance trade, open markets, and protect national security. We all know how Donald has been feeling about this. He's expressed frustration over the public pressure to finalize these deals. And that's a point I was making to Adara today. I was saying to her, I'm like, all right, if we have two negotiating parties, America and China. The media in America is hounding the Trump administration every single day. Where are the deals? You haven't made any deals. You have 0 deals. China is not even talking to you. You're lying. The Chinese media, on the other hand, are they grilling the Chinese government in the same way? So I feel like the pressure's on the United States. That doesn't help the United States' bargaining position with China when the media is constantly hounding one and not the other. And that's what Donald Trump is expressing frustration about. I happen to agree with that sentiment. He goes on to say they want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of theirs. I disagree with that, obviously. I think the Chinese market definitely is up on the rise, and it will be big nonetheless. All right, AMD, they obviously reported as well. This was a good report. And is AMD still up? Yeah, marginally, up 0.83. Let's talk about how they did. EPS beat 96 versus 94 pennies. Revenue also beat 7.44 billion, ahead of that 7.13 that the street was expecting. Good take-home money, man. That's a big move up year over year, guys. A 6-time jump, a 6-fold jump in net income. $709 million in net income, compared to last year when they took home 123 million. So fantastic look there. Revenue growing also 36% year over year. That's a good look. Now the guidance. We all want to know about the guide, right? Because the earnings reports in the past. I'm just trying to fit that in there, Andre. Just allow me a second there. There we go. So the Q2 revenue outlook, they're talking about 7.4 billion, which was more than what Wall Street was looking for. They were looking for 7.25. Gross margins, this kind of caught me by surprise. We've seen NVIDIA report gross margins of like low 70s. AMD, low 40s? Yeah, well, I mean, like on a physical product, that's not unusual, right? Usually the high margins are like for SaaS and stuff like that, but yeah, that's maybe NVIDIA's trading at the multiple it's trading at. So they're going to take a hit as well going forward. We know the export controls on advanced AI chips hurt NVIDIA. I think they're taking, I don't know how many billion-dollar charge. AMD is expecting a $1.5 billion loss for full year 2025 from the new AI chip export restrictions. And they factored about 800 million of that, 1.5 billion in current guidance. Now let's talk about their biggest revenue maker so far, which is data center. That's a euphemism for AI. $3.7 billion in revenue, up 57% year over year, ahead of expectations, kind of driven by their EPYC CPUs and their Instinct GPUs. Their GPU sales hit $5 billion in full year 2024, so second only to NVIDIA. Lisa Su saying that AMD chips are being used for both training and inference. Difference, guys, between those training and inference in at OpenAI, at DeepSeek, and some others. She emphasized the infrastructure spending remains strong despite the tariffs. So their other segment there, the PCs and gaming, PCs is starting to pick up. So this is one we saw very weak basically after COVID, because everybody bought new computers, they upgraded, and then we know how that is. It's an upgrade cycle. So finally starting to pick up here. Their client sales, which include PC and laptops, up 68% year over year, while gaming continues to bleed, Joseph, down 30% year over year. So they're saying due to weaker console chip revenue. That is AMD's earnings. Do you have anything to say before I jump in?
AMD, I like the data center report there. I think that was a positive sign there for AMD. And again, we needed Lisa Su to pull out some numbers, and the report was relatively well, including raising that guidance. And I think that's what we need to see for this stock to eventually start to recover, Sharif.
Yeah, absolutely. I have nothing else to add to that. Let's talk about Amazon. Amazon getting creative now. So they're unveiling a new robot called Vulcan, and it's a touch-sensitive warehouse robot that apparently is changing the game. Let's talk about what they can do. So Vulcan can apparently feel the pressure and the torque needed to grip objects using AI-powered tactile sensors in the robotic hand. It's kind of a breakthrough, and it will handle up to about 75% of the 1 million unique items in a warehouse. That's far beyond the limitations of traditional stuff like suction cups or camera-based arms. It's going to operate up to about 20 hours a day, performing tasks that require, human-like precisions, high precision that only humans can do. Some of the real-world functions of this, let's just talk about where it's developed. First, Spokane, Washington, with a second version being tested in Hamburg, Germany. It operates at the speed of a human, apparently, and can lift up to 8 pounds. That's not that much. And is fenced off from other people for safety, so it doesn't grab your head and start squeezing it. Amazon says Vulcan's true strength is operating in high-contact, cluttered environments, the kind that break traditional automation. And they're saying, look, it's going to evolve and be used with humans. It's not going to replace humans. Yeah, we'll see for now, baby. No full automated plan, they go on to say, according to their head of robotics, Aaron Parnes. You'd have to wait your entire life for that, he says. I don't believe that for a second. Vulcan, he goes on to say, is intended to stow items on hard-to-reach, like top shelves or whatever, allowing humans to stay safer at the mid-height power zones, he calls it. This shift aims to reduce injuries, obviously, from repetitive reaching, squatting, and ladder use. And to go on here, he says it reduces error rates in order fulfillment, directly cutting down on costly product returns, so it does affect the bottom line there. Experts say Amazon is really prioritizing automation return on investment over flashy tech like humanoid robots like your friend Elon is at the moment. Anything to add before I go into SMCI?
No, sir.
Okay, so SMCI reported yesterday, we all know that, super microcomputer, very popular name with our viewers. It was a miss everywhere, okay? But I'm gonna explain what Charles Liang, who's the CEO, had to say. Miss on the top line, miss on the bottom line. He's saying, though, the revenue miss is attributed to customers delaying orders as they wait on the current, or they weigh their options versus the current Hopper, the H100, versus the upcoming Blackwell. If you know Blackwell is going to be available next month, why would you spend your money on the older H100, according to him? He says customers paused, not canceled their orders, and he expects, he goes on to say, a sharp rebound starting in Q4. We'll have to wait for it. Now, here comes the Q4 guidance. They're putting, apparently, their money where their mouth is because they're guiding very big here. So look at the current quarter, guys. They printed $4.6 billion. The street was looking for 5.42, so it was an easy miss. Now they're guiding 5.6 to 6.4 billion for their Q4, which is basically a 21 to 39% increase versus this quarter. The growth expectations, he says, hinge on demand for AI infrastructure, especially the new Blackwell chip, and they're also rolling out AMDs, I know you were waiting for this, Joseph. They're also rolling out the MI325X and the MI350, which starts this summer. So SMCI, going to throw that in there. Some of the other financial things we can talk about there, their cash from operations in Q3. They're holding about $627 million in cash, and they have a positive cash position. And apparently, they're looking to expand global production in the US, Taiwan, and Malaysia to get around those tariffs, those pesky tariffs that our friend Donald Trump is instituting. Anything you want to add before we go on to Disney?
Yeah, not on SMCI, just to kind of take a couple steps back on AMD. I think just with that the guidance raise, it just confirms that, like, hey, we're not going to be as drastically affected by these tariffs as some people thought we were going to be. To raise that guidance, like, and kind of in an environment like this, it's a ballsy thing to do, and I'm glad that AMD did that.
Yeah, it is. To be quite honest with you, she's trying to work around it. She's a hell of a person too, man. Like, I think, you know, NVIDIA got first mover advantage, and she couldn't recover since that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely reflected in the price action for sure. I remember when this first started all out in 2022, it was supposed to be NVDA and AMD going to be head-to-head, kind of going in this AI arms
Didn't work
race.
out like that.
Didn't work out, not whatsoever.
And then we actually saw Broadcom make a bigger move.
Big move,
than
entering the
AMD,
$1 trillion club as well too. Yes,
A trillion.
So.
Where are we at with Broadcom? Are we above a trillion again? We're 956 billion, Katina, man, so we're close. What's going on over there, brother? $2 frickin' in the money there for the Katina man, taking goggles back up, baby. Goggles right back above that $150 area. Katina man long 149. So fantastic look there for our friend Sean. All right, guys, let's go on here with Disney. This was a surprise, I think, for most people. I personally didn't expect Disney to do well. The street didn't either, given the estimates versus reality. Let's talk about it. EPS, $1.45. The street wanted 120. Easy beat there. Revenue, 23.62 billion. Closer here. The street was looking for 23.14. Their net income, wow, Joseph, wow. They took home $3.28 billion in profit. They lost $20 million last year, the same quarter. What a difference. Massive turnaround.
That is insane.
That's insane, right?
That's crazy.
Adjusted full year 2025 EPS guidance as well, Joseph, increased to $5.75. That's a 16% bump for a year over year. Their subscribers continue to grow markedly, 126 million versus the 123.
I think the street loves that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The sub
we all
growth,
know
right?
that the subs, bro. The subs pay the bills, baby.
Subs pay the bills.
123.1 expected there. Disney had warned, believe it or not, of a decline. Instead, they added 1.4 million subs. So it shows what they kind of under-promise, over-perform. Their direct-to-consumer revenue, $6.12 billion, driven by both price hikes and subscriber growth. Their entertainment segment, they have so many segments, guys. This is like their movie segment, their entertainment segment. Brought in $10 2/3 billion, a 9% year-over-year increase. The underperformers, as I kind of joked at the big desk today, Snow White didn't do well. Captain America, also Brave New World, didn't do that well. The ones that did well were like Mufasa, The Lion King, Moana 2, which also helped content and licensing. Linear TV, meaning, you know, cable and their CNBCs, their Golf Channel, or sorry, not CNBC, their ABCs, their ESPNs, etc. Linear TV continues to fall off, 13% year-over-year drop, 2.42 billion. It's a drag on earnings. You know, people are cutting the cord, not getting in. So we'll talk more about how they did in their sports segment once we get back from Joseph.
That's all right, guys. So in sports, playing, go, Leafs, go. Flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like the financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our own mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, where you can call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300 there, guys. So go check it out. Take the Leafs money line. No, don't listen to me. Don't take the Leafs money line tonight. Yeah, see what you guys got going on. Scan that QR code. If you want to get into a little sports betting, then that's your link right there.
Speaking of sports,
Inter.
No, we're gonna do the sports segment of. I got to talk about that.
The ESPN. Oh yeah, we need this. Yeah.
So ESPN. A bright spot here, likely for streaming. So segment revenue for their sports division, Joseph, $4.53 billion. Not a big move year over year, 5% bump, boosted by extra NFL and CFP games as well as the ad revenue growth. Their full year 2025 sports operating income forecast raised from 13% to 18%. So it shows confidence, obviously, by them in their sports monetization strategy. Now, their last segment over here, their parks and experiences like Disney World and Disneyland, for example, their segment revenue brought in a nice almost $9 billion, $8.89 billion. That's up 6% year over year. Domestic parks did the best here. $6.5 billion in revenue from their domestic parks. That's up 9% year over year. And here's how they did it. Higher guest spend, as well as they got a new cruise ship called Disney Treasure. People are going crazy about this, apparently.
It's crazy.
Their international parks, though, Joseph, like the one in Tokyo, the one in Paris, not doing so well. $1.44 billion in revenue. That's down 5% year over year. And their consumer products, like whatever, goods that they sell with themed brands there, $949 million, up 4% year over year, boosted by that new Marvel Rivals licensing revenue there. So good luck for them. Upstart. I'm tired. I'm going to take a little bit of a break.
Take a break, man.
And then we'll do Upstart in a little bit.
Get into the market for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, those parks are just absolute money printers. So I don't know how they would ever. I don't know how you lose money on that thing. Like to walk in the door. I'm pretty sure my friend was telling me for a day pass for him and his wife and kid it's like $1,000 or something like that, and we got Canada's Wonderland over here, kind of not price gouging but misleading prices as well too. Did you hear about that, Sri? I'm sure.
No, I didn't hear about that.
So yeah,
I saw they were putting a new ride though.
Yeah. So Canada's Wonderland is obviously displaying cheaper tickets, but then obviously as soon as you go to
big theme park here in Toronto.
Yeah. So it's Cedar Point, by the way. So when you go to check out, finally, it's like okay, service. It's like kind of like when you're checking out of Uber.
Okay.
If you go Uber Eats, you kind of get the service fee plus taxes, etc. So they're saying they're doing that. They're like hiding the fact that they have to pay all these fees. So yeah, they're getting a little bit of trouble there over at Cedar Point, Canada's Wonderland. Yeah, long time since I've been.
Let's price gouge the kids that go there. That's exactly who we should.
That's how you make more money. That's how you get more money. Make the parents want to go there. I remember back in the day, I was paying $55 for a season's pass.
But like you can't go there now and not get the speed line pass because it's so packed.
That's crazy.
And if you end up waiting in one of the good like the newer rides, you're going to be there a few hours.
It's like easily. I
so
think it's crazy.
You end up paying more.
I mean, when you're young, it's fun to do that. But like I guess as you get older, right? Like if you're young and you're in your preteens or whatever it is, it's fun to just get dropped off there and go have fun with the lads for the day.
That's
or
okay,
whatever. But as you get older, you're like, yeah, what am I sitting in this? I sit in enough traffic here in Toronto. I don't need to go and stand in a line over there because I'm not a big line guy, and I don't have too much patience either, to be honest.
Neither do I, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, let's go. Come on. Like NVDA, I mean, we got the likes of Meta still hovering around those highs of days. Google starting to recover, Apple hovering below the volume-weighted average price, and you can see that the Qs in the SPY are now above VWAP as well too. So I'm just gonna sit here. I'm still being patient, sitting in this NVDL trade, looking for that break of the high day. And if that momentum steps in, then maybe we'll get a good look and potentially add to this position. But I mean, come 2 o'clock. Regardless of what Jerome Powell says, hawkish, dovish, whatever it may be, I think that we're going to see that volatility spike. In which direction, I have no idea. I would not be surprised if this market wanted to take another leg to the downside if Jerome says anything on the hawkish front. So, yeah. So I'm prepared for that. Chances are, unless you're positioned really well, if NVDA is hovering around these levels, then I'll probably just flatten out my order, accept whatever little profit it may be, and then wait for that volatility spike to come in, and then base a trade off of that, let it cool off for a little bit, and then get in on that front. So let's go NVDA. Let's break that high. Bitcoin doing nothing on the day, but I mean, it had some strong post-market price action. I seen this, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we're still holding these levels really well, so that's a positive sign, and we want to stick with that. Pizza Rat was saying, Joe, I would look to offload some shares or contracts, whatever it was he was referring me to, and I said, you know what, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. This trade has been working. I've been buying shares since 47. We're now trading at 55s. Until this tells me otherwise, until we actually construct a lower high, then I'm going to continue to trade this thing. I'm going to continue to sit in this position until it tells me otherwise. And I'm positioned well. If we sit on the backside of a trend or something along those lines, then maybe I can look to start to take some profits. But until then, I'm letting this ride. I do believe that this may be the run that we go and test those all-time highs and then maybe exceed that and head into that blue sky territory and price discovery. So going to be patient on this front. Let it cook, let it continue to work. And it may not happen on my timeline, but as long as those signals tell me to stay within this trade, I'm going to continue to do so until otherwise. So that's my game plan. And my contracts don't expire until November or anything along those lines. So again, I have some NVDA contracts, some 110 contracts, but I'm in shares from 107. Then I got filled on some 110s out the money, which works because now I can gain some time value on those fronts. So those expire in October, and then my IBIT contracts expire in November. And that's what I refer to, right? That's just my style. If I'm going to leverage my system, I don't want to just go with that temporary leverage, right? I want to be able to use that system to its full capacity. And that with me, I always refer to it's just buy time, right? Like, again, I think the contract cost me like $16 or something like that for NVDA. So that's $1,600 for the rights to 100 shares at 110. Try to buy 100 shares at that. It doesn't work, right? So if you're going to use these leverage products, use them right. And for me, it's just buy that time. It's just going to be a lot less stressful. And it's almost essentially for the first couple of months, it's like you owning those shares outright because you're going to catch that appreciation, especially if you're buying at the money and even out the monies, or sorry, in the monies and at the monies. You're going to get that delta movement, and you're going to collect that full delta. Sorry, is what I should say. And if you're slightly out the money and then eventually in a couple of weeks or a month it comes into your contract's price and then trades in the money, then you're gaining intrinsic and extrinsic value. So that's essentially what I do, right? I always buy time because I think it's worth it, especially when you're using these leverage products.
Well said, man. Yeah. This is the best looking small cap gapper in the market right now, above $1. PRCH, it's at highs, 1049 right now. The high of the day is printing 1045. It's up 65%. It's been ridiculously consistent here, but it's a slow mover. As I mentioned earlier, it's not technically a small cap gapper because it's above $1 billion in market cap, but the pattern is what it is. Now, I'm going to suggest to you a couple of areas here that you could potentially look at for entries. Currently, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart's around $10.20. It's about 25 pennies currently from where we're trading. The current bar low was 1035. The previous bar low was 1025. So I don't want to punch in here, especially with 1049 being that high a day, which is obviously 1 penny lower than the psychological area of resistance, 1050 that is. But this has been a fantastic look here. I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about PRCH. It didn't give you any of that bamboozlement that we got on Bull or ASST. It's been very higher high, higher lows. Here it is again, man, at 1050. I'm just wondering why there's not more volume. I mean, it's up so much. It's up 65%. So a lot of people are going to have notice of this. It's going to show up on their scanners like it did on mine. And it's up it's like a reliable higher low, higher high trade. Why it's only done about 50 million shares kind of has me wondering a little bit here. So I'm not going to be punching in at these levels. I'm very interested, though, for that 1025. I don't mind even front running it into 1030. If I like that 10 1/4 level, there's likely other people that like it as well. So they may want to jump in or front run the trade, as we call it. So let's go ahead and throw in an order there. I'm going to wait over here for that 1030 drop and bounce. And here we go. We're getting a bit of a retracement, not much. So let's go ahead and throw that order in there for 1031. And I don't mind actually adding into this one, into the 10 EMA. So currently, as I mentioned, the 10 EMA is around 10 1/4. And I feel that we also have a price action support at 1020. We have a topping tail candle from 1245 that rejected 1020. So if it acted as resistance, maybe, just maybe, it acts as support this time around. So PRCH, definitely looking at that, but waiting for a strategic entry to get into before I just jump in willy-nilly. So waiting at 1031. Let's see what this one does. So I just want to adjust the size of my order because if I'm gonna add into 1025, then I don't want to take everything too quickly. In fact, I've just moved up my order 1 penny into 32s. GPUs. I traded this one well to start the show. It's kind of died down a little bit, and I feel it may be now a flat bottom break candidate, right? And the reason I say that is because, well, we've got 3 lower highs in a row with that same volume weighted average price flat bottom. It's not actually VWAP, it's $7. $7 is where the buyers are stepping in. It breaches VWAP on occasion, but as you can see here, area high, another area high, and yet another lower area high. So lower high, lower high, lower high, all the while you're still holding that same area of support, $7. So this could be a descending wedge and what we colloquially call a flat bottom break. GPUS is a ticker I'm talking about. It's up nicely on the day, about 55.5%, but definitely off the highs right now. So GPUS not going to get in here because I feel that it may be looking to drop. ASST though. So this one, went all the way up, halted to no end to 267, and now it's finally at VWAP. It hadn't been at VWAP since that 940 candle on the 5. Now what is it doing now that it's gotten a VWAP? Well, it's kind of straddling it here, but it's below 2. And I kind of like when this happens, when VWAP and the psychological area of either support or resistance are very close or intersect. What I'm talking about here is that $2 area, which could be psychological support, and VWAP both being at the same level. I'm seeing $1.99 for VWAP, and obviously $2 is what it is. We have a couple of bottoming tail candles here, which means people are buying this in the high 80s, low 90s, alas, not buying it enough to make higher highs and higher lows and to get back above $2 and by extension of that, VWAP. So ASST, another one of those ones that if it doesn't get above that 250, 240 level is a flat bottom break candidate here. So if you're looking for that type of trade, get your shorts ready because both, ASST and GPUS may lose the bid. Not saying they will, I'm just saying they may, right? So ASST, another one that I've been keeping my eye on right now, but certainly not a glowing endorsement to punch long. As I look at my blotter, I didn't get filled on my dip trade here at 32s on, PRCH. So I'll continue to wait for that. That went unfilled. It definitely hung out in the mid 30s, but didn't quite make it down low enough to get the print there. So I'll keep my eye on those guys. Not too many small cap gappers running in the afternoon, but we had a couple of good trades, Joseph, to start the show.
Absolutely. Let's see, MS, so Miniso Group.
Oh.
I'm not familiar with this ticker, but let's pull it up here briefly to see what these guys are actually doing, because Green Hub in the chat has been asking me kindly about it.
Oh.
So we'll go over it. MNSO.
Bang.
All right, so Miniso, or whatever you would like to call it, Group Holdings, is a China-based holding company mainly engaged in the development, retail, and wholesale of lifestyle and pop toy products featuring intellectual properties IP. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's approximately the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th word in the overview of this name, and that's all I need to hear to tell me, like, no, I personally wouldn't be investing in it for the long term. So the 7th word of that would say, so Minso Group Holdings Limited is a China-based holding company mainly engaged in the development. I don't invest long term in China. That's just me. Nothing obviously against it. I just don't think that for a long-term perspective, it's not something that I'd be looking to buy or hold. I like buying American equities or even Canadian ones as well too. So I'm going to say no on that one. We can zoom out and do a little TA obviously as well, considering we're going to go this far. Let's pull it up. Oh, no, we already have it up, but let's pull it up on the daily. And let's see what we got going on. Okay. So I don't know, like, do you want to sit in this for an investment standpoint? Is this the underlying asset that you necessarily want to own? Yeah, for sure. So for me, I'm going to say no on this. Could I be totally wrong? Absolutely. It's a part of trading. You make a lot of wrong calls. and everything along those lines. Could this be one of them? Absolutely. So again, I don't know anything about the stock in order for me to do so, but here we go. I'm going to get stopped out of this. Yeah, I'm out of NVDL. I knew it was going to dump, so there's no point in me holding on to this anymore. And adios muchachos, we're out of that trade there. So that's that. Not going to be taking any more attempts until after the FOMC. I mean, we only got 20 minutes left until we get that, but it's time. Ozan, listen up. There we go. New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform. It's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code or check the link in the description there, folks. And I talked about this the other day. I believe it was yesterday. I said psychology is important, obviously. It's you versus you at the end of the day. Your system is extremely important as well, too, and how good you can execute it. But I think one of the fundamental pillars that isn't talked about as much, and that's your technology. Technology is extremely important. If you're trading off your phone, you're not going to get that market latency and everything along those lines. So you want to have direct access at all times. You always want to look at that latency of what the market connection is, right?
Oh.
So if you're looking at something like I think for me on my old platform, if I was over, I think 50 milliseconds, I think, or something along it was, then I'm like, okay, I'm not in the right server. I need to get a better connection. So just make sure that technology is very, very important, because you don't want to be entering a trade and then you're like, oh, okay, so why am I getting filled at this price? It's displaying, it's trading at this price, etc. So again, the three pillars are trading system, trade playbook, psychology, technology, and I think if you can get those down pat, then you're on the right direction for success there, Sharif. So.
All right, man, just keeping an eye on my friend Bitcoin. We hadn't been talking about that at all on the day. Trading around 96,575, so up about 1.7% on the day, still rejecting that $100,000 level. We haven't even glanced at it. I don't think we've been at 98 yet, have we?
No, we haven't tapped into 98.
We're at 97 for a little bit, right?
97, we've been getting close. So, I mean, I was talking to Jose in the back during Neil's lesson of the day. He thinks 1.25 by, I said this weekend? He said, yeah, maybe this weekend, 1.25.
What's the catalyst?
Apparently
you
Donald
pulling
Trump.
my leg?
Yeah. No, I'm not pulling your leg, man.
Because everybody knows about the bet.
Yeah. No, apparently.
What's the deal?
Donald's saying something either Friday or Monday, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
So.
All right. We're going to go to Adara. She's got more information on this topic.
Donald Trump yesterday during his meeting with Mark Carney, he said a lot of things, as you know, if you're following that. But this is just the market. One of the things that he said that was of interest is that he teased a big announcement, maybe the biggest ever on that topic. He would not tell us the topic. He said we're going to have to wait to find out. But he also said that announcement is either coming Thursday, Friday, or Monday. One of 3 dates. No clues on what time. All we know is it's going to be before his trip to UAE, which is taking place early next week. So again, Thursday, Friday, and Monday is the date range provided by Donald Trump. He also tellingly said it's not necessarily about trade. So he didn't say it's not about trade, but he said it's not necessarily about trade. Doesn't provide a lot of color, but either way, I'm here to provide what color we did get. Back to you.
Is that, Adara, hold on, come back for a second. Is that when Carney sat at the edge of his seat and said he's very excited to hear what it was?
Yeah, that was
That's
Carney being at the edge of his seat.
No
yeah,
way.
Carney was a really good sport about that tease there for sure.
Get it, Mark. All right.
Get it, Mark.
Look,
So
man.
there you go. Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Sharif.
I just love this guy.
It's going to be the biggest ever.
I've said it at day one. I'll maintain the same position. His unpredictability is his biggest strength.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, you just don't know what the hell he's going to do, when the hell he's going to do it.
Imagine fighting somebody, you had no idea what they were going to do next.
There you go. You have no idea. Like, you don't know whether to fight outside, inside, lead with the jab. You have no idea.
Yeah, so shout out Drekus Duplessis, man. That's what they say.
Joseph, PRCH is breaking out. We got a big boy breakout there on PRCH. This is moving in a way that it really kind of hasn't since around 12:45. I was trying to get in on the dip trades there. It was just too strong, man, to even pull into the 10 EMA. So I've got no shares on right now. These dip trades into the 30s are no longer valid. Yeah, I tried to get off the 10 exponential, just so strong. It didn't retrace back down into the 10 EMA. So PRCH, guys, continues to give you higher highs and higher lows. And quite frankly, you know, I'm going to say this and regret it because it'll do it right after I say, but it hasn't had any bamboozlement. You haven't seen those area liquidity grabs to the downside or the upside even to, you know, stop you out, to, you know, all the bamboozlement that we typically see day in and day out with these small cap gappers. It just hasn't done that. The retracements have been into key areas of technical support, not surprising areas. So keep your eye on this one. PRCH, who knows where this one ends up, man. We're knocking on the door of 70%. Not out of the realm of possibility to see a triple-digit winner today with PRCH next to it. So keep your eye on this one, continuing to go. It's at the high of the day, 1065. Every time I look over, it's got another high a day. PRCH is a gift that keeps on giving, at least today. So we'll keep tabs on that. Do you think your friend Jerome has anything to say about, you know, he's not going to cut. We already know he's not going to cut. But you know how he does. He likes to telegraph these cuts in an implicit way. You think we get any telegraph today or no?
Absolutely.
We do, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
For when? Because if you look at the FOMC tool, a rate tool, we're not pricing in what we used to for a June cut. I think it was like 60 some odd %
for June.
Let's see where it's at right now. I think it was below 40 last time I looked.
I think we might see 2 pauses. So pause here, pause next FOMC meeting, and then maybe a quarter basis.
All right, let's load this, you know what, rate tool over here. There it is. You can come into my screen, Andre. There we go.
There we go.
So this is the, let's get rid of all this except cookies so we can see everything well. So this is the May one. This is May 7th over here, Joseph, 97.7%.
So July.
So June, hold on, 71.6 that we stay the same.
Yep.
And then 27.8 that we cut.
Yep.
Let's go to July.
Yep.
Now it gets a little bit more favorable for that 55. So we might get that midsummer cut.
Yeah, maybe
Who
you get
knows?
that. Let's see how the market is. I mean, let's see how everything else is rolling. I mean, if Trump is coming to conclusions with these tariffs, striking deals.
So today, Katina Man, sorry to interrupt you, Joseph, 97.7%, we say the same. When you go to June, Katina Man, another 71.6% to stay the same. But when you look at July, that's where the odds are, 55% chance, Katina Man, that we get that cut.
We could see pauses up until that September meeting.
Yeah, well, bro, you especially if we actually get a delayed reaction to the inflation from tariffs.
There we go.
If we do that, then the Fed's got to take a step back and be like, well, you know, do we cut now?
No.
I think Donald goes after him more aggressively. If we go past July and we haven't got any rate cut, he will go after him.
But again, if we start seeing the full effect of these tariffs,
that's the thing.
In inflation, then you don't want that cut because that's just more inflationary, right? Just making the cost of borrowing significantly cheaper, which isn't necessarily something that you want to do, especially if your goal is 2%, right? Like we were knocking on the door of that, and now we have these tariffs, and I don't know if you want to kind of take a couple steps back. I mean, I understand that can happen one time, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, but I don't think that's necessarily the case considering we've been now battling this for the better part of a couple of years.
Bro. The better part, man. I mean, when was that transitory word?
Well, yeah. Well,
and then he said it wasn't transitory. November 2021.
Yeah.
That's when
I don't understand how he allowed it to get to that 9% to 9%.
Well, I mean, because the amount of money they spent during COVID was ridiculous.
But obviously, of course. But again, you're getting those reports. But how do you continuously allow those reports?
Jerome, he was late. Everybody knows. We all criticize him. You know, this 4-year-old story, but he was late. He's Mr. Too Late, bro.
Mr. Too Late.
Donald called him Mr. Too Late. All right, guys. It's time for Joseph and I to send you up to the big boy desk or big girl desk because we've got Adara waiting there. Get it, guys.
We certainly do, and today I'm going to be here to cover all of the FOMC action for you guys. What are we looking for? As mentioned, we are heavily pricing in a rate